This is typical Dana White, Johnny come lately lying to whatever. He lied about me multiple times, so I know it firsthand. But then, if you guys think back, they're kind of building up Cyborg now. But Dana White, while he was trying to protect Ronda Rousey from Chris Cyborg, and not that I'm not a Chris Cyborg mark. Let's not get on that way. But he was awful to Chris Cyborg.
Yes.
Awful. If you remember how bad he was. And this is whenever a fighter does something that he likes and they eat out of his hand, he kisses their ass. And as soon as they push back a little bit, he did it to my friend Tyron, right? Tyron's UFC champ, and he was calling him the most boring fighter ever. He's just an asshole. He's a liar. He's an asshole. He's pretty much just a terrible person. And he will say whatever he feels about people. And stupid-ass UFC fanboys listen to exactly what it says as if it's factual, as if it's informative. No, that's not the case on either account.
What up, everybody, and welcome to yet another Sound of Violence podcast. This is Pulver. I am pouring a milk chocolate stout from Beaver's. Oh, Nitro, I should say.
Belching Beaver.
That's right. I'm here with Chris. What up, dog?
Fucking doing great, dude. Today was the start of my 4-day birthday weekend. My birthday being tomorrow.
Yeah.
The TUF finale, of course.
You always have a birthday that lines up with International Fight Week.
It is. That's what's great
cool.
about an early July birthday, man. It's been dope the past, I think, 3 years now.
Yeah.
Last year was 200, was like a day after my birthday.
Yep.
And I think before... Oh, no, I remember my 21st birthday, which was already 5 years ago now, was Anderson Silva versus Chael Sonnen 2.
Goddamn.
And I was in Vegas. That was tight.
That's pretty wild, yeah. So, if you guys have not heard the show before, we are the Sound of Violence. We go through and discuss all the MMA podcasts we've been listening to. We pick out a podcast we think you should catch, a podcast we think you should skip, and a podcast you can't miss in the MMA world. And then we go through and throw out some also rants and other shit we heard. And we are going to go ahead and get into format, but crazy weekend coming up, and I'm pretty hyped for it. Also, I want to shout out this beer from Belching Beaver. Good God, is this thing good?
Yeah, they consider this their OG beer, the first beer they ever did, apparently. It's a regular milk stout, which is embellished with chocolate flavor.
Which you can tell. This thing
and
is
it's on nitro, so of course we poured it from straight upside down, basically. Pouring it upside down.
Dunkin' pint glasses and shit.
And yeah, it's great.
Gotta let that shit cook, bro. But yeah, this is a fucking fantastic beer. I'm blown away by it. So why don't we get into format? What's the first podcast you think people should check out?
For me, co-main events this week.
A good episode.
I enjoyed it. The Master Tweet Theater was pretty funny. It was on point. The Are You Fucking Kidding Me was good. I liked the part where... Fuck, was it Dana who said it? Who said it where it's like... what did they say? Oh yeah, the Ultimate Fighter this season was the best, and I think it's... Oh no, Dana said it, and he's like, it's gonna be a show that goes on forever. Like, is that a threat? He's like saying it in a threatening way.
That is pretty threatening. Because it's like being like, you're all gonna live in tough China forever.
Yeah.
No one leaves tough China. You don't know it, but you're actually currently in tough China.
Introducing next year, Tough Japan.
Yeah. That'd
like
actually be a much better show.
It would.
Or Tough Korea, for that matter.
Yeah, actually, that'd probably be the best one. So yeah, basically, Ben Folks and Chad Dundas went across and discussed how Dana is currently mad at Demetrius Johnson, and he publicly shamed his upcoming fight against Ray Borg, which I think's at 215 or 260. I have no idea.
Something like that. I don't know if it's been confirmed for
either way. Yet. Dana, I think he tweeted it out. I don't know if it was a tweet or something, but he's like, "Oh yeah, you guys got what you wanted. This is Ray Borg's a killer, and it's something that he's going to get a lot of money for, blah, blah, blah." Dana being...
a terrible promoter.
Yeah, he is.
When the name of your job is the thing you're bad at doing.
Oh, and since he's a baby and didn't get what he wanted, he's threatening to sell the entire flyweight division to another promotion.
Yeah, a couple guys actually came out on Twitter. I believe Damon Martin and a couple other reporters basically said, like, Oh yeah, we've actually been hearing rumors of this for a bit now. So that
hypothetically, which promotion do you think would actually even take that on?
Well, I think for 100% one would steal the whole division if they can afford it.
Yeah.
Because that's in their weight class. It would make all their fighters and all that shit way more relevant, and that would be pretty cool, actually. Bellator also. Scott Coker is super, super, super smart, and he, I would believe, knows that you can steal that entire division for not a lot of money and buy yourself a division.
Because I believe Bellator doesn't even have a flyweight.
No, but they've had flyweight fights. They've just never actually made a division.
They'll probably be the ones who take it away if that happens.
They have a 125 women's division, which the UFC doesn't have. So, Scott Coker's real crafty, and I know he likes guys like DJ and them. So, I would not be surprised if that was partially the case.
So after that, they explained Junior Dos Santos versus Francis Ngannou is going to be at 215, UFC 215. It's going to be a blast. They said you shouldn't worry about JDS because of his experience. However, in my opinion, I don't know, man. Francis Ngannou has been on fire lately. Sure, he hasn't fought someone to the caliber of Junior Dos Santos, but based on what we saw when we saw him fight against Stipe at 211, if he's backed up against the fence, I don't know, man. I mean, I know he's still got that quick jab, but Francis Ngannou looks like a killer lately. Granted,
he does, but he's super green behind.
Yes.
Like, he's super green in that division.
Technique-wise, yeah.
Yeah, and we haven't really seen him against anybody that's like anywhere near the middle of that division, really.
Yeah. So for all we know, it might be just a great all-around fight.
I just want to see how his wrestling turns out against anyone decent, because that whole division is a lot of decent wrestlers with high-level jiu-jitsu, and like you're not just gonna fucking standing Kimura motherfuckers on the regular. Like,
yeah, no, JDS is too strong for that too, and he'd recognize that. So
I think that's gonna be interesting.
So yeah, they were discussing that. I know they said they were more detailed with it, specifically.
They also talked a bit earlier on about John Fitch fighting the PFL at the NASCAR event in the rain, which was
I heard
hilarious.
That wasn't great, right?
I mean, John Fitch got a finish. I actually didn't get to watch it because it's on fucking NBC Sports Network, and who has
that Pfister guy? What the fuck's his name? No,
not Cody Pfister.
Foster.
Brian Foster.
Brian Foster. That's the name. He's been a UFC vet. He's fought Justin Gaethje, who fights tomorrow. He's fought them all. So yeah, that's all I really heard is they quickly mentioned that. I can't remember. I think it was Dundas who brought up the idea. How long will it take for WME, IMG to return on their investment? Will MMA always go on? And if it's not a promotional scale, will it be in people's garages, underground style?
I'm in. I watch that.
Not?
I'll go watch.
As long as you got a fucking webcam right there.
I was gonna say I'm on the underground. I'll go watch
$10 pay-per-views. I'm down.
I'll go watch some Paul Varlin. No, not Paul Varlins. Who was it? Paul Blantello and Kimbo Slice shit in someone's gym. I'll go watch that shit. I'll show up there with the camera.
If you had 8 fights, I'd pay $10 for that.
Yeah.
Why not?
No, yeah. I'm looking forward to Battleship 3 or whatever promotion Dada 5000 put on back in the day.
Oh my.
That was in a triangle. That was supposed to happen on a battleship, but then at the last minute they're like, "Oh wait, we don't have a battleship, so we're just doing it in the gym."
They're in San Diego. They could have done it.
Probably not.
Well, they could have done on the entire Midway.
Who do you think is going to be like, "Oh, Dada 5000? Yeah, for sure. Here, go ahead and put on an MMA promotion on our fucking
not him,
ship.
not him, obviously.
Yeah.
But that reminds me though, if the UFC would have been ballsy enough to do an outdoor fight, they could do it here totally in San Diego when it's not raining right now if they wanted to.
Yeah, we are a pretty safe place. We just don't have a big outdoor venue.
I mean, if you want to do it in the Midway, but still, you can't see it anymore.
No, you can't see anybody on that. You don't. The only reason
you could do
that,
Petco Park.
I don't think it seats enough to make it worth it.
Well, no, Petco. Well, Petco Park seats.
What about Qualcomm?
Qualcomm you can do because it's more.
Doesn't it sit more than Petco?
Well, yeah, Qualcomm sits 70,000. And 65, and
we don't have anybody that sells out a fucking stadium.
But listen, Petco sits 42,000. But remember, like baseball seems like there's a big gap in center field. You know, the park and all that.
That shit won't work. But like
you can do it. Honestly, they could do it. Like they could put the octagon in the middle of the fucking.
We don't
second
have anybody
base,
that sells out.
But you'd have to do outdoor seating too, like on the lawn and elevate it. So it would still be an issue.
Well, but the big problem is we don't have anybody that would sell out a stadium in this city.
Yeah.
Like, the only time they do stadium shows is when there's a hometown person, or when there's a crazy market, like when they went with Rhonda and Holly to.
And we all know San Diego. It's all transplants. There's no real hometown fans. Even if you had like Dominic Cruz and like half of Alliance
Dominic
on a
Cruz
pay-per-view,
is way too small.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. That's the thing.
Even if you had like Dominic Cruz fighting Uriah Faber 5 times in the same night, you wouldn't fill that stadium.
Yeah, no.
I would watch that fight, but you wouldn't fill that stadium.
Yeah.
Also, Dominic Cruz's feet would die by the second fight. Yeah.
And then after that, they were talking about the investment return in WMEI. Yeah, who knows? I'm sure they'll make their money back by making more freak show fights in the future. As far as the event tomorrow, they said a guy like Justin Gaethje can go out there and KO Johnson, but he could also find himself in trouble in round 4. What they mean there, since Gaethje is such a pressure fighter, and we'll get into later detail, they're wondering if his reckless style of fighting will either gas him out early. That's what they're saying. Round 4 he might be in trouble. But
I don't see that going. I don't see that fight going to round 4. No matter who wins.
Yeah. And then they said Gaethje's perfectly matched up against Michael Johnson because Gaethje's undefeated and was a champion in another organization. They said Johnson is still a top 5 upper echelon opponent, and that's who former champions should be fighting. That's like, as we previously just saw Marlon Moraes fight Rafael Sensao.
Perfect kind of matchup. Like, just hard enough to where it's a super toss-up.
And then they said if Gaethje knocks out Johnson, he might have a claim for a title shot, but if not, even if he just wins, he absolutely has to call out someone either named Tony Ferguson, Edson Barboza, or Eddie Alvarez. In my opinion, I would love to see him fight Edson Barboza just because of the fucking kicking battle that would happen.
That would be a wild fight for sure. It'd be really, really weird. Like, that's one of those fights that it could go a lot of different ways.
Because I feel like Gaethje versus Alvarez would just be a wrestling match.
No.
You don't think? Yeah, maybe not.
Like, that would be an even wilder fight, probably. Because they both can wrestle just enough, and they both like getting in and out of clinch exchanges and throwing. Like, I feel like Barboza could, like, I feel like the Barboza fight is going to go it's either going to go one way or the other. I feel like one style is going to beat the other pretty quickly in that fight. The fucking Alvarez fight, they don't have that different a style.
Yeah.
Like, so that could make it interesting. He could pet us in.
I'll speed this along. Basically, Gaethje was in another interview that they had cited. They said he doesn't like spectators who, like, just casual fans who embrace moronic shit talk. He said if you're the best, you fight the best. That's why he thinks Tony Ferguson should deny Kevin Lee a fight. I mean, I think that'll happen in the future, although I think Kevin Lee is supposed to be fighting Edson Barboza in the fall, from what I've been kind of hearing.
I've been kind of hearing that, too.
Yeah.
It's not confirmed or anything.
That fight makes sense to me. I mean, as far as just the rankings go, it's for whoever cares about that anymore, that is.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting fight, too, if it does end up happening.
They're talking about the recurring trend for the UFC is to bring over champions from other organizations. They're citing champions from WC, from Bellator, the likes of that. They're talking about Gaethje's reckless style again, how he's going to get knocked out eventually, blah, blah, blah. So the UFC dodged a bullet in not feeding Sage Northcutt to Gaethje like they probably would have initially. That kind of makes sense.
Yeah. That, like, you can't kill fucking Sage Northcutt like that.
Yeah. Because he's staying at lightweight. Yeah, there's no way he's going back to welterweight.
And, that's the worst matchup for Sage Northcutt.
Yeah, that's not good.
The worst. Like, Mickey Gall would be a much fairer fight.
Yeah.
And that still is a bad matchup for Mickey Gall.
Yeah.
Like, people underestimate how fucking good Justin Gaethje is. Justin Gaethje is very goddamn good. He just takes a shitload of damage.
Yeah. So anyways, I'll finish off. They're saying Cowboy vs. Lawler's officially moved to 214. Holy shit, how stacked is that card in Anaheim? God damn it, I want to go.
End of the month.
Yeah.
It's like 3 weeks.
It's an hour drive.
Fucking crazy.
It's an hour goddamn drive.
It's expensive, though.
Yeah, but I can't do it.
Yeah.
But,
with the drive and everything, it becomes expensive, I should say. Like, if it was in our city, we would be going for sure.
Of course. I'd be going 100 goddamn percent. Yeah. Anyways, they just said, what's going on with Bisping? He's injured, or he wants to fight GSP instead. Make up your fucking mind, because he's kind of flip-flopping between who he wants to fight next. And then they said, Nunes versus Shevchenko 2. Is that high on anyone's list? Probably not, because they need to do a better job at promoting Nunes. on a scale. I know she had a media tour with Cowboy Cerrone, and
she did.
Yeah. The only thing I liked about it
tells you how
is
much I heard about. I hear about everything, and I hear about
the
that.
interview that they had on the Jason Ellis show was pretty great though, because Cowboy kept acting about Nunes' sex life and like all these different things, and knowing Jason Ellis, he's insecure.
Well, especially since Nunes is dating Nina Ansaroff.
Yeah,
makes it like fucking.
Oh, and
so Cowboy
I think she was there in studio from the video I saw too. That's why Jason Ellis and Cowboy were laughing, like they're egging it on, and she's like, "Well, I like to do this and that," like so.
Well, sometimes you have to chuck a bitch.
Yeah, pretty much. So that was my first catch this of the week. Was a co-main event.
Sweet, dude.
Those dudes always doing it well.
Yeah, absolutely. My catch I recommend for everybody this week is Heavy Hands Patreon episode. This actually would have been one of our clips. Oh, I should mention, our clip on our intro was shit. This thing that I'm about to play right now for Chris, and then we'll talk about it. All right, so we are back. Sorry, I forgot to have Chris listen to the intro, so we should talk about that for a second. Sean Funky and the Baddest Man on the intro, talking about how terrible Dana White is and how fucked up the DJ treatment is. And Ben Askren makes some really interesting points about the treatment of DJ, the treatment of Cyborg, the treatment of Ben Askren himself, and the treatment of Tyron Woodley, all by Dana White, and how fucked up it is, and how he just kind of straight up lies and says horrible things about people.
Yeah, don't believe his lies, as they say all the time on Reddit.
Quite literally, like, if Dana said something, probably the opposite is true.
Yeah.
Like, remember how Brock wasn't fighting at 200, even though that was super in the works, and people are asking him about it?
And it was actually announced.
Yeah, it was like all kinds of that kind of shit. So, I thought that was an interesting clip from
Dana
Ben.
is just too much of a control freak, because he's like, I run this $1 billion business.
Yeah, and
I'm only right.
Yeah, and we may actually talk a bit later about Dana White's show on Fight Pass, Looking for a Fight, which I fucking love, despite Dana White being a big part of it. But
so there's a little bit of an oxymoron.
Yeah, well, no, I like the show despite him.
Yes.
Put it that way. But yeah, so I wanted to mention that since we had it on the intro. I'll talk more about that episode in a bit. But my catch for this week, like I mentioned, is the Heavy Hands Patreon. That actually could be one of my clips this week, but pulling a clip from this episode wouldn't do it any justice, because it's a long form interview with Conor Rebush and Jim Miller, just about Jim Miller's history in MMA and his style. Because if you know Conor Rebush of Heavy Hands or of MMA Vivisection, he has a couple other podcasts. MMA Depressed Us, of course. He's very good at finding like tiny details. He's done a lot of like striking and stuff. We're taking a lot of striking classes over the years and all that. I know Pat Wyman trained at King's. I don't know if Conor ever actually did. I believe he might have, but I know Conor's taken a shitload of boxing and Muay Thai classes and stuff. And he had a very, very interesting conversation with Jim Miller just about his process. And I was going to use it for a clip, but I recommend listening to the whole thing. Some interesting things they brought up. Talked about how Jim Miller got his start. Basically how his coach and team were kind of unhelpful. Like, Jim Miller was never the most athletic dude, so he would always just get paired with, like, a lot of people wouldn't practice with him. Like, they wouldn't go, he felt they wouldn't go full speed, like all the top guys.
Yeah.
So he ended up training with, like, freshmen a lot of the time and stuff in high school. And he just talked about how that was kind of frustrating. He also mentioned, they make a mention to the New York Underground promotion from back in the day that was super fucked up and had, like, almost zero rules and, like, a lot of riots and crazy shit go down.
Shows?
It was like a smoker, but, like, it was like an actual promotion that just, since New York had no athletic commission that sanctioned MMA, it was just fucking chaos at the time. Let's see. He talks about how Jim talked about how him and his brother both took their first fights 6 months after starting jiu-jitsu, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. Like,
it's pretty nuts.
They literally just had some wrestling and boxing. Like, they had some wrestling experience, so they took like 6 months of boxing and jiu-jitsu and started having fights.
It's pretty nuts.
They both wrestled in high school and college. He described his game as super meat and potatoes, which I thought was a very, like, Jim Miller kind of thing to say about his own game. And Conor backed him up on it, which he's like, Jim Miller doesn't do anything flashy. He just tries to keep everything tight. Like, he tries to, if he's going to throw something, he's going to try and keep his left hand up right by his chin to block whatever else is coming. And he just tries to do everything technical. He also talks about how in pictures, though, you realize how 0% of that actually happens most of the time, even though you're trying so hard for it. I thought it was just a fucking super educational and technical talk with the both of them. They mentioned, like, they gave credit to Miller as, like, why that Poirier fight was so close was because his striking was so technical throughout that whole thing. And it was just super interesting to hear Conor Rebush kind of go in depth on, like, tiny details with Jim Miller. You don't see that a lot or hear that a lot in podcasts, where it's just, like, going through technical, like, tiny details.
Yeah, especially the kind
like,
of people that are talking with him that can identify with those kind of things, too, that the fighters deal with. Or
exactly. Well, and he's asking Jim questions like, oh, like, how do you focus your training? Like, do you more lean towards one style or another when you're focusing training? Like, do you, like, is it more opponent specific? Is it more just overall stuff? Do you do a lot of pad work? Do you do a lot of sparring? Do you do a lot of just...
Yeah, so it's like game plan or routine.
Well, and it's just really interesting talk. Jim mentioned at one point that he had 9 wins in a row and still wasn't promised a title shot if he won his 10th.
Wow.
Which is...
Well, I know he is the winningest lightweight in history of the UFC.
Yeah. Well, and which is an insane statement.
Because you think of BJ Penn, you think he'd be number one.
Well, and you think, like, how fucking many lightweights have just been dominating for so long. Diego Sanchez still fights.
Yeah, like, that's a good point. Donald Cerrone, too. He has a fuckload of wins at lightweight. He probably has, like, 15 at lightweight.
There's a shitload of guys who have wins at lightweight, yeah. It was just a fun conversation. I really enjoyed it. And I thought it was a great episode. I absolutely people recommend it. It's $3 to subscribe to their Patreon. They put out, generally, they'll put out about 2, I believe, Patreon episodes a month, maybe 3, depending on how the week goes and how much content and everything. But I absolutely recommend checking it out. They're really nice guys. Connor's always a sweetheart on Twitter, Boxing Bush, if you hit him up. He's a super nice guy, and I just love how technical and in-depth him and Pat Wyman are willing to go. Also, Pat Wyman this week on Heavy Hands, which we'll talk about later, had some amazing insight about training at... Because he sparred with Verdum a couple times because he trains at King's.
Oh, yeah.
And he's talked in the past about how fucking horrible it is sparring with Verdum. Because he's, first off, not as big as Verdum, and second off, Verdum pulls nothing on anything he's doing. So he just talks about how rough it is, and he talks a lot about how, we'll bring it up in a bit, but very great podcast, and I absolutely recommend checking out their Patreon. We'll have a link in the description, as always. So, let's see. You said you had did you have a catch, or a skip for this week?
I don't, actually. You have
a second catch, though, right?
Yeah, I had... So I said the first one I said was co-main.
Yeah.
The other one, my catch this is Anik and Florian.
Oh, that's a good episode this week. I have a handful of notes on that, too.
I liked it. I like kind of the beginning of the episode. It wasn't MMA related, but John Anik, on the time it was recorded, which was on the 3rd, it was his birthday, so he called his identical twin brother at his job, and he says identical twin brother.
That's right, I forgot about that part.
Yeah, unfortunately, they weren't able to reach him.
It was funny. He's like, my brother's going to fucking kill me.
Yeah, Jason, so... That didn't work out, but then they began their podcast by talking about the Tanya Evinger upcoming fight versus Chris Cyborg at 214.
Yeah, it was awesome to see TJ come on and actually break down.
That's right, I thought I recognized TJ.
Yeah, so he's, of course, if you guys don't know, TJ DeSantis, host of the Sherdog Radio Network, the producer of... Anik and Florian podcast, and also
Morning Wood.
Yeah, the voice of Morning Wood and a ton of other shows. Yeah, Ian McCall's show, American Animals.
Yeah,
and Jordan Breen's show, fucking a billion shows. Beatdown used to be fucking Cheap Seats and Sherdog's show and all kinds of stuff. I think he might actually still do Jeff Sherwood and Josh Gross's show.
I think
he does do the Outsiders podcast as well. But anyway, TJ, if you guys don't know, the voice of the Octagon, that's actually Bruce Buffers. I forget. King of Fight Pass, TJ DeSantis, that's what it is the commentator for Invicta. And he came on and broke down basically how the matchup, he sees the matchup with Tanya and Cyborg, and how Cyborg's really only the best wrestler she's ever faced was probably Daria Bragimova, who
I remember he
grabbed that single leg, ran her into the cage, and got punched in the head for like
they were just saying
minute.
Avengers Wrestling is world class, and she's really being overlooked big time.
Yeah.
So, and I agree too, man. I mean, I know we'll preview that fight at the end of this month.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Like, just as a quick preview. Avengers Wrestling is her best shot at winning that fight too, especially if she can keep Cyborg on the ground, so.
Oh, definitely, and Avengers really fucking scrappy. She's Leslie Smith style scrappy, where this shit's just gonna turn into a fucking brawl, and like maybe they come out on top, maybe they don't, but it's gonna be ugly as fuck no matter what.
Yep, and they said the only knock against Avenger is her heart because she got choked out by Gina Carano, which shouldn't happen.
Go ahead and try that name again.
Gina Carano.
There you go. I heard you started to correct it.
Or should I just do the running joke that Comaine does with Nunes?
Oh, God, no.
I'm not going to do that.
Because that fucking drives me nuts when they do that. Yeah. Because it's just Chad.
There's another name, too. No, they do another name. I remember.
Matt Matreon is one of them.
They say that, and there's a third name. I know there's like a fucking third one.
They have a couple of them.
Yeah, they do them on purpose. I'm not going to do that to everyone. It's Gina.
The poet Philip Baroni is one of them. If you count that.
Oh, yeah. So there's that. They're questioning, will Junior Dos Santos be able to let his hands go against Francis Ngannou? Because I feel like since Ngannou is still pretty inexperienced against top talent, how would he deal against someone who's just fucking throwing heat every 5 seconds? That is a good point, because we haven't seen that. We haven't seen Ngannou try to cover up.
Yeah, and especially since JDS is pretty good at keeping distance. So
he's good boxers.
Yeah.
So there's that. They said, this was interesting to me out of the whole thing. Will Damian Maia be at a disadvantage because of his brutal weight cut and that it's a 5-round fight against Tyron Woodley? I mean, in the 3-round fight that it was between Jorge Masvidal, did we notice him gassing? Not really, but that's
not really.
He wasn't tired, but when Masvidal was piecing him up in those exchanges before he's trying to shoot, he did look kind of not exactly with it.
But he does have a history of not doing well when you can stuff takedowns consistently on him, which Masvidal didn't do as well as kind of a lot of people expected him to. Myself included. I thought he was going to do a lot better at stuff in those takedowns.
Included as well.
And Damian Maia is just such a motherfucking beast. He just kept turning corners and changed.
That was my probably favorite takeaway from there when they were discussing that. Anik and Florian, of course, started... I know we mentioned this before. They discussed Conor and Floyd, because that's going to be a recurring thing throughout the next month and a half.
Yep, Mayback betting lines.
One thing that was interesting to me is Florian said he thinks Conor's going to win by KO round 2. You're psychotic.
I think a lot of MMA fighters are just doing that thing where they're hoping. And
they got to side with MMA, because then it'll be like, MMA could beat backstage.
Just what that means for everyone who's ever competed in the UFC. Like, if Conor does win that,
that'll be worse for the UFC, because then your boy Jimmy Manure will want to fight David Hay, and then you'll get Michael Johnson wanting to fight Triple G.
No, you know what? After if Conor wins this, they'll all be like, nah, why fight boxers? They can't even fight us.
They'll be like a humble brag bullshit. Yeah. Anyways, the thing that I liked about their takeaway is, will Conor land more than 25 punches? I know me and you, we're going to probably preview that fucking boxing match just because it's part of the same weekend.
Maybe we'll talk about it briefly.
Yeah, we won't. You know what? Let's not even answer that now.
Yeah.
So anyways, Luca Fury is a betting guy who apparently has an 83% success rate over the past year. Good for him. For all the bettors out there, he was saying Pettis by TK over Jim Miller. Overeem should win. I guess, did they say he would KO Verdum?
I believe.
If Verdum swings wildly, he had all these narratives. Yeah. Kenny Florian thinks Overeem will catch Verdum with a knee. They said as far as Whitaker versus Romero on Saturday, Whitaker's volume and better chin. We'll see the fight most likely standing up. I won't give my answer now because you're about to get into that soon. And then as far as Nunes, Shevchenko, they think Nunes gasses by the 3rd round. I'll leave it at that. We'll talk about our insight as well. So I enjoyed the episode a lot. It was fun. I liked it because they had a variety of guests on there. I didn't listen to the Ray Longo part, unfortunately. I kind of tuned out after that because I was on a time crunch. Did you hear Ray Longo at all?
I don't know if he was even on this episode. Was he?
He was supposed to.
I don't.
See, there's 10 minutes left, and they said, "All right, we're out to call Ray Longo." So I don't know how they would have done that.
I guess they did have Ray Longo on. I don't remember that. However, Oh, no, wait, that was a different one. Yeah, I don't have any Ray Longo update on that one, unfortunately. So what am I on? My skip for this week?
Yes.
Oh, my skip for this week is the skip every time it happens, unfortunately. I'm a fucking sucker for dumb podcasts. No, Nia Rodriguez, it's not your podcast this week. Although that is a frequent skip contender. However, Mr. Doug Crosby on Chael Sonnen's podcast. I do it to myself every goddamn time, and I always fucking immediately get upset about it. Let's see. Some of my notes. On the You're Welcome podcast with Doug Crosby. Doug is a dick and referencing Oasis songs 1 minute in, thinking is amusing.
Was it Wonderwall? Because he's a piece of shit.
No, it was even worse. It was like some hipster fucking one, and he was whistling it, which is why.
Oh no! Just I would just turn it off and I would just skip 3 minutes.
Right, but I was like, maybe Chael will put this back on, because this was like literally the first thing he said. So I was like, Chael will drive this back on track. Chael asked him about the flyweight division. I wrote that he's brutal and self-aggrandizing. I wrote that someone's pretentious when they constantly take long pauses to then say something extremely average and poorly thought out, which Doug Crosby did most of the time.
Great.
Also I wrote, here come the shitty quotes. A rich man has many problems. A hungry man has one.
Wait. Who said that?
Doug Crosby quoting some fucker. It took him around 5 minutes to mention he's in the movie business. We're only 5 minutes in, by the way. This all happened in 5 minutes. There's another reference to a book from the guy who wrote Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Film, and he talks again about the film industry. I wrote, holy fuck, bruh. Chael makes a point about Crosby. Why does that say Crosby? That's not supposed to be Crosby. Chael made a point about this. Oh, no. I'm sorry.
Oh, shit.
Wait. Oh, sorry, I wrote that wrong. Chael made a point about one of the fights this weekend, and Crosby immediately made a Frank Sinatra comparison.
Great.
And I'm out. I'm done. I'm actually so done after that episode that I'm not listening to any Chael Sonnen You're Welcome episodes until fucking Joel is back. Because I'm just done. I'm just done.
I agree.
Although I should mention, he evidently gave a shout out to Sean Funky and the Baddest Man podcast. I evidently did give a shout out to them at some point. So I'll try and find that episode. But yeah, I'm kind of done with that show until Chael is back, because I can't. Joel.
Joel.
Yeah. Because Joel's the man, but like, god damn it, someone needs to keep Chael in check, because otherwise he just because I know he gets a lot of views on that because Doug is such a shithead, and Doug is now playing the heel so much that it's unbearable. Like, he just keeps referencing that he's an actor. It's awful. So yeah.
So he's Adam Sandler, just not in stand-up.
No, he's like Adam Sandler, who's never been funny and always been smarmy.
Oh,
he's like an unfunny Dennis Miller.
Oh, yeah.
He's like if Dennis Miller was he's like late in life Dennis Miller, where he's just like super Republican and not funny anymore.
Oh yeah, because that was weird. I remember he always hated on Bush, and then all of a sudden he's like, I'm best friends with Bill O'Reilly.
Dennis Miller's a weird guy. Anyway, way off topic.
He probably got paid.
Yeah, I'm sure. But that's my feelings about that fucking Chael one. What's your episode you say people have to listen to this week, or your can't miss? Your must listen.
For me, it was the 5 rounds of Brett Okamoto. I liked it a lot because he started off by explaining how he interviewed Yoel Romero inside of a hotel room. It said the whole time Yoel was literally like had his hands behind his head, like, for relaxation mode. We'd be like, yeah, keep talking. You know,
I like how Yoel sounds like the governor.
Yeah. You know, keep talking, Mike. Yeah.
Hey, Michael.
I love you. He said that the thing I liked, that he talked a lot about the Shevchenko Nunes fight. I know other podcasts talked about the main event, which of course is, well, I don't say it's not the main event because it is, but the most anticipated fight is definitely Yoel versus Whitaker. But yeah, as far as Valentina versus Nunes, he definitely said Valentina would have fared better if the first fight was a 5-rounder. Hell yeah, I agree. Do you agree, Chris? I mean, goddamn. I mean, from that first fight, I felt like Nunes kind of gassed a little bit in the third.
Yes, but the only thing with that theory is, like, you don't know if Amanda Nunes would have burnt that much energy. Like,
You know what the best example of that recently is, right? Remember how everyone kept saying Tyron Woodley would gas against Wonderboy?
Oh,
what happened
both
there?
fights?
5 rounds.
They said that both fights that he would gas.
Yeah. Like, to be fair, he looked tired more in the first fight. In the second fight, he was way more well-conditioned, but that's because he knew he was going up against. Which, either way, people were not correct in their prior assessment, as far as, like...
Yeah, well, no, people just... They're gonna... Like, all fucking fighters say, they're gonna base you off of whatever your last fight looked like. If your last fight looked like you were going to gas towards the end, sorry about how loud that fucking opening of the beer was. Oh, wait. Oh, shit, Chris, you going to open that beer with your glasses,
dog? This is brought to you unofficially by William Painter Titanium Sunglasses.
That's right, William Painter Titanium Sunglasses.
They also come with a bottle opener on each handle.
They open your beers, boy.
Yep. His best sunglasses ever bought is fucking awesome.
Yeah, they're actually really dope sunglasses. We are not officially sponsored by them, but if they'll open our beers... they get a shout out just like Belching Beaver of San Diego, California. Belching Beaver. We have multiple tasting rooms in San Diego. When I say we, I mean not me. Belching Beaver. Check it out. They got a peanut butter stout, but we're drinking the regular one. It's great. This is the shittiest goddamn commercial.
It was a pretty bad plug, but it's all good.
Especially since it's a fake plug. I feel like I need to really amp up the retard on that one.
We will next time. We'll Billy Mays it next time.
That's right.
Without the blow.
Speaking of amping up the retard, I have a segment later that we'll get into about some ninjas. That's a real thing. We'll get to that. So let's see. We're on your Can't Miss. We're talking about Brett Okamoto. Sorry,
yes, thank you. I actually already forgot. I'm just kidding. Brett thinks Valentina is suited as the kind of fighter who go. Oh, I apologize for that. Thank you, Blake.
Shout out to Blake.
The fighter suited to go longer rounds. She is currently the odds favorite. The biggest thing I liked that they talked about is Nunes, the face of women's MMA. They said currently she's not, even though she's headlined major cards as of last year, UFC 200. They said, how do you turn her into a star? They said her interviews and trash talk aren't translating well, but that's because she's trying for promotional value. She will generate fans, in their opinion, by annihilating opponents in the first round. In case in point, Ronda Rousey, Miesha Tate. So... good point. They said not convinced that Ronda will never fight again, but Ronda built a presence because of her cross-promotional ability by featuring on TV shows and interviews. They said Gina Carano was like this with movies. That's a very interesting topic.
He made some interesting points on that one, for sure. Like, sometimes Brett Okamoto bugs the fuck out of me. I don't know what it is. He comes off a little smarmy, but, like, he makes good points, but he also makes real shitty points. Like, he's one of those dudes that I, like, agree with, like... a third of the time, and the rest of the time I'm like, God damn it, Brett Okamoto, quit sucking all the UFC dick. Maybe it's just because he's always the guy who's like their feels like he's like their fucking. They're always friendly enough with him because he's ESPN, so it's like
he's a whipping boy in a way.
Well, not even that. It's just like I feel like he never has a take that's against the UFC in any kind of strong way. At least recently, I should say. Like, I feel like his podcast recently, he's been backing Dana a fuckload on a lot.
Yeah,
of
he
things.
did definitely against the DJ.
I think that's maybe what's been pissing me off is all the fucking DJ talk he's been doing, which is like, he's been shitting on DJ a lot for not taking that DJ
I remember
fight.
you didn't really talk about DJ this fight, at least from what I heard, which was nice.
This podcast, you mean?
Yeah.
Until Joseph Vides came in studio, and then it was... Oh, wait, was that the episode before you... No, same episode. Joseph Benavidez was on later that episode.
This is the one...
Yeah, where he's in the UL talking room. Hotel room talking to him.
Okay, yeah. Fuck, maybe I didn't finish this episode, I guess.
Yeah, perfect. So I'll wrap it up with that one then. Yeah, Joseph Bennett. Maybe I'm combining 2 episodes of 5 rounds.
I don't remember.
I could be combining I think I listened to both.
This was the one with Aldo Orcal, or whatever this guy's name was.
Yeah, you know what? I'm combining it with the most recent one where he had Joby Wan on.
Either way, I'll finish up real quick. They're saying Yoel versus Whitaker is as a 50-50 fight as you can get. They think it's a pick-em as far as Yoel's explosiveness versus Bobby Knuckles' just striking ability and takedown defense. They said nothing official, but apparently Bisping will be fighting the winner of this fight. Do you buy that right now? I don't.
Depends on if Conor gets George or not.
Fuck, that's a good point.
That's honestly how I feel like it's going to go. If Conor comes back, I think he wants George. And I think that's why George is in limbo. And I think that's why Dana keeps fucking with George. Because he's waiting on Conor.
Yeah, it's bullshit. Dana keeps saying George wants Michael, but there's no way that's true.
Well, he might. I think George just wants a fucking fight at this point. I think they're fucking him around trying to wait on Conor to see, can we book Conor or George at 170 at the end of the year, so then Conor doesn't have to defend the 155 belt, and then when he loses to George, it builds up George, and Conor can go back to 155 and fight Nate Diaz for the belt, which no one is asking for but me.
Yeah.
Just because I love Nate Diaz and I want him to get a belt.
And then there's this, sort of Brett said that he could watch any fight from this weekend. It'd be Johnson versus Gaethje because of the violence that's going to happen. I think that's a good point.
It's a decent point, yeah.
He said it's crazy to see former lightweight killers like Pettis and Gray Maynard on Fight Pass prelims, but I think to be fair, Pettis is on the main card. I think he was just referencing Maynard, but it's still kind of a weird contrast if you think about it.
Yep.
I didn't even realize Maynard is still fighting until last year, to be honest. No disrespect to him, but I had no idea he was actually still around.
Yeah. Well, we saw him in the fight against the Laylock fucking wizard, Ryan Hall, yeah, who's a
just
goddamn
basically
monster.
being in guard, though, pulling guard the whole time and saying...
Amazing episode of MMA Depressed. If you guys have not seen that, go check that out and watch the UFC Fight Pass version of that fight, and then listen to the MMA Depressed commentary, which is amazing. Let's see, do you have anything else on 5 rounds with Brett?
No, that was it for me. That's what I wrote down.
Perfect. Then I will jump into my must-listen for this week, which is Sean Funky and the Baddest Man. Megan Anderson called in, since she is... she called in along with her coach from Factory X, who I forget the name of, but she is, of course, a training partner of Joe Warren at Factory X. So she called in to Sean Funky and the Baddest Man, which is pretty cool. She explained more... about how she has personal shit. She says multiple times, yo, I'm not gonna say what it is. It's weird personal shit, and, I can't be putting shit out there like that to just the world. It's not an injury. She later kind of gives away.
Personal issue, right?
Yeah, it's something weird and personal. She said it's not. Yeah, she said specifically. She said in the past actually already that it's not she's not pregnant. It's not an injury, and it's not a visa issue. It's something just some weird personal thing. Actually, later in the episode, I believe she literally says, well, for sure I'm not pregnant, so you don't have to worry about that. But she calls in, she's like, listen, I just can't tell the world this shit, and, she mentioned she saw the Clarissa Shields video days after she already pulled out of the fight. And everyone was like, oh, she saw that Clarissa Shields video with her with Cyborg sparring the boxer, and she's scared, bro. It's she pulled out days before that. Y'all are just slow on the uptake because you didn't catch it until Dana said so. She mentioned the rabid Cyborg fans. Says she wants... she did say she does want to fight Cyborg at the next fight Conor has when he gets back, maybe. Because that would line up time-wise for her.
That'd be good.
Be good. You want to make a fucking pay-per-view UFC, that's a way to do it. Joe said he did some light sparring with Megan Anderson, and it wasn't fun because of her long arms. But Joe also jokes that he'll put her down if he has to while she's on the line.
Jesus.
Well, Joe's hilarious. If you don't know Joe, or if you're not listening to, if you don't know his cadence and when he's joking, he's real upsetting. But if you've ever heard him or read it, if you just read what he says, it's terrible.
Yeah.
But if you hear him say it, he's clearly
he knows his intentions too.
Tongue buried in his cheek. Yeah. When he asked if that's Mirko Krokop's girlfriend, and it was his fucking 8-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
You're like, of course he didn't mean it. It's a good joke. Lighten up, fuckers. She did clarify, Megan Anderson also clarified that she's still working with James Krause.
Oh, cool.
And all those guys over at Glory MMA.
In Kansas City?
Yeah, in Kansas City. But he's actually involved with her working at Factory X for a bit. They're all on the same page. She mentioned later, when we had to pull out, I talked to James and I talked to the head coach, I think Mark, of Factory X. And, we all had to come to a decision. She was really bummed about having to pull out. She just kept saying over and over again, how upset she was about it.
By the way, how would you have liked your chances against Cyborg?
I can't tell.
We don't know yet. Yeah.
Like, she's real green.
She's tall as shit, too.
She's real big. That's the thing, is, like, we've only seen Cyborg fight people way smaller than her.
Cyborg's what?
But she's fucked up some people.
She's like 5'9", right? She's still huge for a woman.
Yeah, oh yeah. She's fucked up some people in Muay Thai, though, like, that are her size, but she's also been fucked up by them. Megan's real young and green, but, like, that kind of makes it interesting. She develops so much in between fights. Like, if you watch 3 fights ago and you watch her most recent fight, totally different fighter. Yeah. I mean, she was getting tapped up by Cindy Dandwall, like, 3 fights ago, and she's completely different nowadays.
That's crazy.
So, pretty interesting, but, let's see. Yeah, I mentioned that she said, well, for sure I'm not pregnant. Oh, they talk about the speculation about getting rid of the 125 division, which is where you heard the clip earlier, where Ben was talking about how it's typical Dana White and how he fucks everybody over and lies to everybody. At one point, Joe goes, I just listened to Dana in regards to DJ not taking fights, and Ben freaks out. He's like, you can't listen to Dana, he's a freaking liar. Just a lot of that over and over again. It's because Ben's been on the bad side of that for a long time.
Of course he has.
Like, Ben's been fucked over by Dana more than anybody other than, like, Fedor or Cyborg, probably.
I just hope he's persistent with it and still tries to get the UFC, because I'd love to see him wreck the welterweight division.
I hope he goes back to Bellator or something. But I don't think it'll ever happen. I'm starting to get real skeptical.
He's probably just
Well, it's what he's talking about, is retiring and just teaching wrestling and shit. Because that dude makes a decent money teaching wrestling. Do that? But, god damn it, he's still so good. He's fucking killing guys in one. It's insane. Let's see. Oh, Sean brings up that there isn't a CEO currently named for the UFC.
Really?
Yeah, there's no CEO.
The fuck?
Yeah, like, they never replaced that title.
Oh.
Just never did anything with it.
Probably like Ari's son.
I guess, but, like, I don't know. Dana, I guess? But, like,
probably
not really, because that would give him actual stakes. It's weird. It was an interesting thing that he brought up that I hadn't thought of. And then I just saw on Twitter that Tanya Evinger and Cyborg are super pissed at Joe Warren again. And I wrote that women really don't get that guy's jokes. Which they don't.
Yeah.
Like, although those are 2 women who don't get jokes, generally. Like, Tanya Evinger will get jokes if they're, like, of Tanya Evinger's ilk. And Cyborg gets 0 jokes ever.
Yeah, of course not.
Even Ray Elby, who runs her Twitter, gets 0 jokes as well. So it's real rough. But yeah, they're currently berating the Twitter run by some random fucking intern or whatever for that podcast. And that was that was the one I thought everybody needs to catch out, just because I thought it was interesting hearing all the Megan Anderson talk. But did you have any other ones you wanted to give a shout out to his recommendations or also rans?
I'll give a shout out to Fights Come By, Jack Slacks.
Yeah, you and I both talked about that earlier. It was a great episode.
Yeah, he discussed Tanya Evinger versus Cyborg. He thinks Megan Anderson is the future of that division if they can build prospects in the 145 division, that is. But I do agree, because Megan Anderson, how old is she? Like 25, 26? I don't even know.
Yeah, something like that. She's real young.
He said, why the hell is Michael Venom Page doing a boxing match before fighting Paul Daly? What the fuck is that all about? I agree.
Yep.
That's some bullshit. I think it's just him making excuses or trying to make extra money first, so... he said, how about MVP fight someone of a marginal note first? Don't get excited for his fights ever. He's pretty harsh about MVP, but I agree. Because in my opinion, he isn't even proven yet until he fights Paul Daly.
Yeah, I mean, MVP's been the most sheltered fighter we've seen in a very long time in terms of competition.
He just looks skinny as a rake, and I feel like if Paul Daly would check one of his kicks, his leg would snap in half. Like
there is a little bit of a Corey Hill feel to Paul MVP sometimes.
MVP is skinny as a fucking rake.
Well, and I just feel like does Paul Daly have better wrestling than MVP? Because that's saying something.
I think he
because
does.
Paul Daly's wrestling is not what Paul Daly is known for.
Yeah, I know, but I'm pretty sure since his experience outweighs MVP.
Is it bad that I'm so tired of them babying MVP. I kind of want him just throw him to Rory.
I'd say MVP.
Come on, just throw him to Rory.
I'd say MVP is the most overrated welterweight in the world. One of the most. One of the.
Yeah, I would say I would take Kevin Lee over him any day.
Well, he's a lightweight now.
I know.
I mean, Kevin Lee could fight at welterweight.
I mean, more specifically, I would take Lorenz Larkin, obviously. But I meant, like, I was going to say I would take Lorenz Larkin over him. And then I was like, actually, you know what? I'd take Kevin Lee over him also. Like, possibly Michael Chiesa over him, probably, actually. Like, I would take...
No, that proves my point.
I would take a lot of... Ally Quinta.
No, yeah, if you have lightweights beating up on a welterweight, yeah, no, MVP.
Yeah.
Fucking beat someone first, please.
I might take the 155-pound Pitbull over MVP. How about that?
Wow, that's big. That's bold right there. So there was that. He said DJ versus Ray Borg is on. Get hyped, folks. Couldn't really put emphasis on that except for Dana didn't get what he wanted. So boo-hoo, Dana. He says it's not an interesting fight and DJ just wants the record. No shit.
People don't give Ray Borg enough credit. Like, Ray Borg is very good. He is.
He's very talented.
Yeah, and he's been fucking performing lately. Like,
yeah, who did
there's just not much competition.
What's the guy's name?
Jussier Formiga, who's
Isn't
super
he a black
fucking.
Belt?
He's super high level and super technical. Yeah.
Yeah, Ray Borg made him look amateur. So there's that. Jack thinks the UFC. Okay, this is weird. Jack was pretty much defending Dana. He says, I think the UFC should dump the flyweight division.
That shit bugged me.
Yeah, it bugged me too. He said DJ should go on a Shudo tour, crown the world, and dominate everyone. I don't know. He's just one of the few who doesn't like the flyweight. Or I guess one of the many. I don't know.
Which is fucking weird. Because if you're a fucking analyst,
like all those fighters.
Really like flyweights. Like,
apparently not him. So that caught me off guard this week.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about Jack. That's one of the... Jack Slack has some Brett Okamoto in the way I feel about him, and, like, I like most of what he does, but every once in a while I'll say such heinous shit that I'm like, where are you? Like, you're not backing this up with anything.
Yeah, that was my main gripe of that episode. What I did like is he discussed Justin Gaethje's love of approaching to catching punches on his forehead while pushing forward a la Nate Diaz.
Yeah, the catch and pitch style.
Yeah, which... out of context sounds super weird.
Yeah,
but
sounds like some shit Cody Garbrandt would name.
With his boy McCall, Last Call McCall, what's his... Castillo. What's his name? Last Call? Oh, but his name's Last Call too. That's what I was thinking.
Danny Last Call Castillo, yeah.
Yeah, not Uncle Creepy.
Yeah,
do you see what I'm saying? Yeah, that confused me too. Either way...
he also made a great point about Gaethje having bad eyes, similar to Joe Frazier, maybe. And how Joe Frazier utilized a similar kind of style where maybe it could be that Gaethje's eyesight is bad enough to where it's... because you see the crazy thick glasses he wears, kind of like I do. And, like, you can't... it's hard to see tiny movements like that.
That's true.
And contacts are technically illegal. And so is laser eye surgery in MMA. So.
Jack also said what I liked is he said for every Michael Johnson fight Gaethje meets, there's a guy like Anthony Pettis or Edson Barboza. Gaethje is a matchup nightmare. He thinks for Pettis or Barboza because of his pressure and
totally agree, especially Pettis.
Yeah. I think Gaethje would beat Pettis right now, and I think he would beat Barboza. Only because Gaethje knows how to kick as well, low kicks. I mean, it would
Barboza
be tough
would be a weird one.
Yeah.
That'll be a real test for Gaethje.
Yeah, it would, but I almost would want to bet on Gaethje against Barboza.
It depends on what he looks like against Michael Johnson. If he fucking blows Michael Johnson's doors off, then yeah.
Oh, if he blows, and we'll say this again, I'm sure I'm going to repeat myself right now, but if he blows the doors off Michael Johnson, he's a top 3 lightweight, in my opinion. Like, if he does that to the number 5.
Yeah, he gets like Chiesa next, right?
No, dude, he'll get someone above that. Michael Johnson, number 5, dude.
Kevin Lee, then?
If they want, because of momentum, yes. But realistically...
Kevin Lee...
realistically...
Kevin Lee, Justin Gaethje would be a fun fight.
It'd be great, but realistically...
I don't think it's
realistically, they're going to give Kevin Gaethje either Barboza or... Wait, 1, 2, and 3. 1 is Ferguson, 2 is Khabib, or whatever. I don't even know who number 3 is. It's whoever number 3 is, they'll give him.
Yeah, but you know Justin Gaethje, Tony Ferguson is going to be the greatest fight of all time if it ever
that'd be
happens.
great too, yeah.
Remember fucking Horcher and Ferguson? It'd be like that on... I hate this phrase, but on steroids.
Or Venata, you mean. Because Horcher fought Khabib.
You're right. I'm thinking...
Venata, though, Ferguson is fucking fire, too.
But, like, Gaethje... And the problem is Tony will choke him the fuck out. But up until that point, it's going to be the most insane chaos that's ever happened.
If that happens, actually, you know what? If Gaethje wins, he'll probably fight fucking Khabib or Barboza. It's one of those two. He'll probably fight Barboza.
Yeah, I guess Barboza.
He'll fight Barboza. It'll be Barboza. Because I want to see the leg kicks.
I could maybe see Chiesa, too. Because Chiesa's still way above him.
He went way down, dude. He's number 9 now. Kevin Lee's number 7.
The fucking rankings are...
I know.
Well, then I take
It'll be Kevin Lee. It's either
Yeah.
Kevin Lee or Barboza. That's it. One of those two. It has to
I
be.
could see.
I'd be sick, too, because he's so young. Anyways, I will stop fucking jabbering. That's what they talked about. We'll discuss more of that. The only thing they discussed, Jack Slack said, was the great lightweight title runs, because lightweight's probably arguably the most competitive division in the past 5 years. I think he said RDA had one of the better runs because of who he beat on his way to this title. I agree.
Yep.
He quickly discussed Verdum versus Overeem 3. He said, will Verdum swing wildly, or was he going to pull guard like the first fight? And will O'Connor Reem use his devastating knees?
Yeah, he said he wants Reem to use the clinch and the knees.
Yeah.
Thinks is a good path to victory for him. Go ahead.
And he ended it by saying his favorite analysts, I know he said a bunch of people, include BJJ Scout, Robin Black, Dominic Cruz, Daniel Cormier, and there was like some other guy.
A couple other guys. Like there's a Sherdog guy that has a really good one. There's I think a Reddit guy that has good ones, and a couple others. He also mentioned he has his Patreon where he's doing a bunch of long form lecture type episodes on like old school stuff, which is where I don't know. I think we mentioned last week he's doing a huge retrospective on Sakuraba. So those are all as he describes them, for the Patreon boys. So I may end up being one of the Patreon boys, despite me talking all this shit during this episode about him. I like the guy. I think he has like shitty opinions about people, fighters, or like I feel like he doesn't necessarily always back him up to the way I'd like him to.
Him supporting Dana with the whole Mighty Mouse.
And he does that shit a lot too. Yeah. So let's see. Did you have any other recommendations that people check out this week?
Not as far as recommendations. I think I just put stuff that was solid. But
yeah,
I mean, I'll just shout out the name. Submission Radio had a good interview.
Oh, we'll talk about that for a second with you. Yeah,
cool.
Submission Radio had a cup weight. You're saying Boss?
Boss Rutan is the one.
Oh, you're talking about the one from last week.
Was that last week?
Yeah, because this week they had they just put it out like
preview,
a day or two ago. Yeah,
I didn't have time, unfortunately.
So that was actually a great
How was that?
episode.
Here, I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah, Sean Sheehan of Severe MMA was on live on the phone from a wedding to
that is fucking dedication.
Yeah, to talk about Conor Floyd and how it's being discussed in Ireland. He also broke down his picks for 213. Tommy Toll did a good segment about what speeches to look forward to this weekend at the
of course he
at the
that.
Hall of Fame stuff or during fights. So stuff like Yoel, Faber, and Joe Silva. I believe at one point he's like, "Have you ever even heard Joe Silva speak? You got to check that shit out." Let's see. Robin Black is on to talk about Bobby Knuckles and Yoel. He says the phrase, ATT guys jizz all over themselves, talking about Yoel's athleticism. It's a real quote.
Hey, to be fair, Jack Slack said, if anyone is athletic as a fighter as there is, it's Yoel Romero, even though he's 40. So I guess he's on that jizz train too.
True, and then they had Damon Martin of the Buffet team as Damon and the Submission Radio guys described themselves.
Oh, Lord.
They say they're on the buffet team because they're always the guys fucking eating at the press stuff. Damon talks about leaving Fox Sports, which he's no longer at.
Oh yeah, because remember, dude, I looked up his podcast, like 3 months ago, because I remember these things. Like,
no new
Damon
episodes,
Martin's
right?
is fucking great at Fox Sports, and then I looked at it's like 404. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, so currently he doesn't have a podcast feed. He put out a podcast on his YouTube channel, which I believe is Nerdcore Movement. I'll have a link in the description. But he put out a podcast update. I haven't listened to it yet, but I'm assuming it's him talking about how he doesn't have a RSS feed and he's working on setting up a new one. But he did put out a new episode, so I'm actually... well, that's a good segue, Chris. So from now on every episode, I'm going to listen to an MMA podcast I've never listened to before.
There we go.
Most of these, shouts out, are going to come from... MMApodcast.com. If you guys have not gone to that aggregator before, it's fucking incredible. It's basically just a giant RSS feed of every MMA podcast that submits to it. And it's fucking awesome. It's where I found a ton of great shows like Cage Cash and all the MMA Nation stuff and all that. So next week I will cover Damon Martin's show, Fight Society. And there's a link in the description of this episode for his latest Fight Society episode on YouTube. But I feel like that'll be a good way for us to catch new shows and keep keep up with all the shit that's coming out, because there's new shows coming out every week, it feels like. Do I have anything else I really wanted to give a shout out to? Jordan Breen Show had some cool shit. They had MMA Dude Bro call in, who's one of their regular callers, so I just realized has a podcast, so eventually look forward to me covering MMA Dude Bro's podcast. Let's see. I think the only other one I wanted to mention was Heavy Hands. Heavy Hands had a great episode. Connor got a speeding ticket on his way to the show. They argue a bunch about Amanda and Valentina's fight. Not like argue, but just like are in complete disagreement about how it's gonna go. And
just
like,
counterpointing.
Yeah, but like in the most like friendly but disagreeable way.
Kind of like, well, I agree with you there, but I have to discuss this.
Right, like Pat and Connor, like they're so nice, both of them, that like, and they're so calm about everything.
Yeah.
They're just like, yeah, I just can't agree with you on that. And it just kept going back and forth. It was pretty funny.
Well, here's where you're wrong.
Yeah, exactly. They also broke down the Verdum Reem 3 matchup, and Connor said he really hopes it's a weird fight, like the second one, but weirder.
Oh, great.
Which is saying something. And then Pat also gives some insight into when he was at King's MMA and how he's talked to Rafael Cordero about how fucking pissed he was at Verdum for that second Reem fight. It was a really fun episode, and I thought it was fucking great. I definitely recommend people checking it out. And I think that's the only other thing I had this week. There is a episode from The Outsiders that I have not listened to. The Outsiders with Josh Gross and Jeff Sherwood is always great. I'm sure this one's no different. Also, I want to give a shout out to Faraz. Says he's going to be on Rogan's podcast sometime after UFC 214, like I think the day after.
Oh, shit.
So that'll be a fucking incredible episode. Because 214 is in LA, of course. So let's see.
Either Anaheim, but yeah.
I mean, that's LA. Close enough.
Sure, yeah.
It's LA.
Orange County, all the nerds would say it. Tony Ferguson would call it Orange County.
Hey, any of you fuckboys in Orange County other than Tony Ferguson?
I'll say this. Anaheim's an hour from San Diego. LA's 2 hours.
It depends on what side of Anaheim. The far side of Anaheim's like an hour and a half away. It's not. Yeah, it's like.
I hear you.
It's Anaheim's. Oh, all right. Well.
You're thinking.
Guess how many times I go to Anaheim, you fucks.
Yeah.
Unless there's a fucking mountain involved with
Newport Beach, but yeah, because remember that's an OC below LA too.
Yeah, no, I know. I've dated girls that went to Newport Beach. Shouts out to the OC, and hookers, because God, that girl was a whore.
They're fun.
Yeah, no, not fun.
Short term
fun.
Short-term fun.
Short-term fun, long-term misery.
Thank you, Europe.
Yeah, for real. Shouts out to freckled redheads with bad attitudes. Let's see. Let's see. Frank Mir and ACB.
Fun with fighting?
The commentator of AC, like the other commentator, because Frank commentates ACB.
The non-Russian Borat?
Right, he wasn't on that one. No, that's EFN. Or Global Fight Nights, or whatever fucking
EFN.
name they're using this week. They changed their name.
I was just saying that because
our
ACB said Russian too.
No, ACB, yeah, they're the ones that hate the gays.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, no, his, they didn't take a Nike sponsorship because they said that all faggots should die or whatever.
Jesus,
there's a special place in hell for faggots or something. I forget what the quote is.
I think we mentioned this like a month or two ago.
It's a horrible quote.
Yeah, I remember we kept saying,
fuck
this podcast, fuck this guy.
Yeah, no, it's not a podcast, it's a promotion.
Fuck this person, yeah. Whatever.
But Frank Mir and the other ACB commentator during last weekend's fights, because I'm a fucking hypocrite who watches everything regardless of political views, they did mention ACB is going to have a podcast at some point, I guess. So,
wow.
Okay. And then the only other thing I wanted to mention was that we have there's a huge 3-hour plus Vivisection that came out.
Jesus.
Yeah, MMA Vivisection, which is where Connor Rebush and Zane Simon, famously of the MMA Depress Us podcast, which I'm a huge motherfucking fan of, and of course Connor Rebush, Heavy Hands, all that. They put out a 3-hour and I think 13-minute breakdown of the entire TUF 13, or not TUF 13, TUF 25 and 213 card. I only heard the first hour hour or so I don't want to get super into it, but I love how much tape study they do, and they were giving very in-depth impressions. They're also fucking hilarious, so I'm blindly picking them for our next segment for this break coming up. So on this break, you will hear some fucking clip of Zane Simon and Conor Rebus talking about the fights either tomorrow or on 213. So look forward to that. We're going to take a break. I know I have to take a piss. I bet Chris does too. We're going to get some more beer and
I'm hungry.
That too. And we may actually, depending on how time goes, we may watch a little bit of Dana White looking for a fight and recap that, since they actually went to the Emmy fight we covered a while back.
Yes, it is.
CFFC 64.
At North Park of the Observatory.
Yeah, so I feel like that would be cool. So maybe we'll recap that when we get back, and then we will break down the TUF 13, or God damn it, TUF 25 UFC 213 cards. So look forward to that, and here's a clip of Conor Rebus and Zane Simon being funny boys.
About it all.
That brings us to a featherweight bout. Cody Stamen,
Damon, I think.
Damon?
Like a plant's penis.
Yeah. Cody Plant Penis.
Cody Damon. Cody Plant Penis versus
Tyrion Ware. And this is an interesting
I can't wait for the debut of Cody the Flower Cock Stamen. What do you think?
Oh Lord, yeah.
That's
okay.
a nickname.
Cody the Flower Cock Stamen. I can't say that.
Alright everybody, we are back. That was a clip of some kind of MMA Vivisection quote that I have not yet pulled, so hope you enjoyed that. We just got through watching the most recent Dana White Looking for a Fight episode, which actually featured the CFFC 64 card down here in San Diego that me and Chris went to live. If you go back in our episode archives, it's one of them. I think around the 8th.
I think it was in April.
Yeah, it was, maybe somewhere around there. Beginning of the year, maybe March, something like that.
Yeah, probably.
It was March or April. Actually, you might be right with April. Somewhere right in there. If you go back a couple episodes, probably like 20-something, somewhere in there. I'll have a link in the description. And it's also our artwork for this week, but it was cool. We saw Matt Sales fight, which is one of the two fights they showed on the show, and the guys next to us from Alliance were real hyped on Matt Sales.
Yeah. They were kind of explaining to us, I remember the whole time, how good of a fighter Matt Sales is, his background and how experienced he is, and how they expect him to fully win, and I mean he did.
Yeah, he was the one in the light blue who, he doesn't have a ton of fights under his belt, but he had a super impressive performance. Actually, in the show, even Dana was like, "Oh, this dude in the light blue is going to get beat up," and Dean Thomas was like, "No, he's not.
Oh, yep.
He's going to win." And then, a couple minutes later, or half a minute later, fucking starts bombing on the dude with hit him with an overhand and backed him up and put the pressure on. Super impressive performance, but it's cool seeing that on the show, and then they showed the main event, which I believe we left before the main event actually happened.
We definitely didn't see that, unfortunately, but
I must have seen it on their Instagram or Facebook or some shit, because I had seen that fight at some point. But super impressive performance from a
Joseph
guy,
Morales.
Yes, out of Team Alpha Male. Yeah,
flyweight.
Yeah, the guy who Cynthia Calvillo is really hyped on.
To, yeah.
And Dana loves everything that girl does for some reason. So immediately signed the kid after he got the win in that show, which was pretty cool. They also went to Crazy Burger, which we should give a shout out. They tried to give Dean Thomas 21st Amendment Watermelon Wheat Beer, which is a great beer. Dean Thomas, I hope you enjoyed it and weren't offended, because if you're gonna ask for a fruit beer, that's one of the better ones you can get. Is that or grapefruit sculpin, probably, right?
Or some sort of mango wheat, but yeah.
Yeah, something from, I believe...
Anchor Steam has pretty good mango wheat.
Ooh, do they?
Yeah.
I was going to say, I think, whatchamacallit, right by the sports arena, has a pretty good fruit beer, too.
Modern Times.
I think Modern Times has a good fruit beer as well. I don't remember the name of it. And Ballast Point has a couple. Like that Sea Rose, I think.
Well, on the 16th is their brand new unveiling of the Blackberry Sour Wench 6-pack.
Who's that?
Ballast Point. Blackberry Sour Wench. We shall see.
Yeah, I'm unconvinced by Ballast Point ever since they got bought out. Like, their Mira Mesa restaurant is amazing, but I'm always hesitant on their new releases. I love Sea Rose though, to be fair, and that's a sour.
Tight.
It's real good. It's one of my favorite go-tos every time I go to that brewery. So yeah, we're off topic again already. But yeah, cool episode. They went to Crazy Burger, which girlfriend Karen, who's been on the show, has mentioned before, and she loves that place. All right, sorry about that. We are back saying fuck Los Palmitos, the Mexican place across the street.
Yeah.
No further comment on that. Anyway, we are going to go ahead and jump back into... Oh, they went to Crazy Burger.
Yeah, man, those camel burgers sound fucking fine.
Yeah, girlfriend Karen went there in the past and says that they have fucking awesome food. So we will definitely have to swing by there sometime and check that shit out. They also went to a cool animal sanctuary that actually girlfriend Karen also knows about because she works with, some dog saving rescue
Outreach
thing down
program,
here
yeah.
in San Diego. So she's familiar with them. She also is a vet tech, so like... She's aware
and
of all
where
the
we got to
different...
see a lion get mad at a tiger.
That's pretty cool. Also, Dean Thomas got offered a racist beer. I think we covered that, but it's real upsetting.
21st Amendment, courtesy San Francisco watermelon wheat beer.
Yep, and then they went to the Whaley House, which you've been to the Whaley House, right?
A long time ago.
Me
but,
as well.
I like how Dean dressed as Blade.
Yeah, it was real upsetting, the whole thing. I mean, that's all the Whaley House isn't scary for anyone who's never been to the Whaley House before. It's not that kind of scary haunted house. Like, it's like a haunted house as in, like, everyone who lived there dies. And then most of them are buried on the premises, is why it's scary. It's not like,
It's scary. It's scary only to the people who are related to those people who died.
Right, it's Scooby-Doo scary. It's not like fucking haunted house like
Zoinks, Scoob!
Oh!
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that, Daphne. It's a lot of that.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah, ruh-roh indeed. Which, ironically enough, I'm pretty sure Matt Sarah said to the ghost at one point.
I think he said ruh-roh.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, we should get back on topic. But yeah, if you guys have not seen Dana White Looking for a Fight episode 3 in San Diego, absolutely check it out. That CFFC 64 card was awesome. They actually do a lot of those on the East Coast as well. So if you're ever on the East Coast and you see the CFFC card, definitely check that out. Fun fucking promotion, and I had a great time when we went. Okay, well, before we get into the picks for this card, I did want to mention I may have started a war with ninjas, so if I somehow die before next week, you know why the podcast ended. I don't know I don't think I've told you about this. The Underground, you know the MMA Underground?
Yes, I do.
So there was a thread on there where there were two modern ninjas in the U.S., one from West Virginia and one from another place, Colorado.
Fact that in West Virginia makes me think they're just some redneck who thinks they know like kung fu.
Well, I mean, they practice ninjutsu, so go ahead and take that for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Also, there's their rival ninjas in the U.S. One from.
Let me guess. These guys are all white.
Oh, they're very, very white, Chris.
Yep.
One is from
practicing for 3 years.
No. So here's the thing: they're from the Midwest, or not the Midwest. One's from Colorado, one's from West Virginia, and the one from Colorado claims that the one from West Virginia isn't a real ninja because he didn't actually train under legit ninjas in Japan, like the one from Colorado did.
Displaced his honor.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's commit seppuku.
Yeah, so someone put a thread on the Underground about how ridiculous this is and how they were supposed to fight, and there's a video online which is 15 minutes long of them talking back and forth, and at the end of it, none of them fight. It was the world's worst Dojo Storm video probably ever. And then
bulldog mouth with puppy dog ass.
Yeah, and then so that turned into a 26, I think we're up to like 36 page thread on the Underground.
Marvelous.
Because we eventually got one of the ninjas to come on the underground and start talking to us. And I started...
Did he talk in code, or was he...
No, he was just talking like Ron Collins, the ninja.
Oh, no.
Who... It was real. It's Ron. So it's Ron Collins and Don Raleigh, which does not help when it's Ron and Don to differentiate who is who in the white guy feud. One's fat and bald, the other one's skinny and ugly.
Oh, this is upsetting hearing this.
Yeah, it's real upsetting. However, they taught me how to make GIFs this week, so
that's cool.
If you go on our Twitter,
we learned some ninjutsu GIFs.
Yes, absolutely.
Fuck yeah.
Because their videos were so bad, I learned how to make GIFs. So I'll pull up our Twitter page real quick because I don't think Chris has actually seen it yet. So I started making GIFs in this thread, and Don Rowley at some point figured out that I was making GIFs of him and making fun of him, which I thought was hilarious. And evidently he did it as well, because Chris, if I show you this right here, you can see the GIF that I made of Don Rowley. Where he says, I think the guy that made this was trying to insult me, but I love this GIF.
That's amazing.
And it's in, like, Don Raleigh, because if there's a legit thread on the underground, you, of course, do it, like, you're like, oh, I'm in, just so you subscribe to it automatically. So I made this GIF, and he posted it on his own Facebook page, where he's prancing like a fucking...
Like a white man.
Like a retarded gazelle, is what the phrase I would use, but yeah. And then, so that led me to continue forward in that thread, or in that same video he posted that I pulled that from, where it turns out, Chris, I'm just going to go ahead and scroll down to this. This is, oh, not that one yet. Not that one yet. That one. This is later on in that video where he's humping his friend. This is the ninja on the left. The white ninja is the one on the left. No, this is me that I posted this.
Wait, so this goofy ass motherfucker with a goddamn cell phone clip or whatever that is claiming to be a fucking ninja?
Oh yeah, no, he's a ninja.
Fuck that guy.
He's a ninja. Also, I made a GIF of him.
Yeah, you know what? If he's a ninja, I'm a fucking vampire because I never sleep.
I made a GIF of him grinding on his friend. Now, his arch rival, Ron Collins.
Look at him too. He's like, this motherfucker.
Yeah. So here, yeah, in like Don Raleigh. So I also made a video, or I also made a GIF off of the Black Dragon Ninjutsu, Ron Collins video that he made, which we'll link in the description because it's fucking insane. And this is Ron Collins. This is
the guy who's getting...
This is how you hide in public. This is his ninjutsu.
I pray that these guys are 100% serious.
Yeah, they are so fucking serious.
Oh.
Dude,
okay, you know what?
Is 36
can you, like, after our podcast, tell me their guys' channel so I can get really fucking baked and just thank you.
Absolutely, but even more than that, you should read this thread because it's even better. Because it's just Ron Collins.
Just send me the link, because I know people come up with some good material.
This entire thread is just Ron Collins arguing with ninjas from the Don Raleigh camp who got sent to this thread, and it's just me and the other UG people trolling the shit out of everybody. Also, there's this one in Ron Collins where he's rolling. That's a great GIF that I really enjoy. And then I also have this one of Ron Collins, which
what is that?
No, if we go to that was him with is that
his ninja fuel?
No, that was him with guns. Here we go. Ron Collins. More like Rock Collins.
Yeah.
He was hiding. He was a rock. You didn't see him there? Do you see that bush, Chris? Do you see that bush in this GIF?
Hey, to be fair, that's some good camouflage, but he's still a goober.
But it's not good camouflage if you set up a camera, walk to that camouflage, and then just sit there for 10 minutes and then leave. It's, oh god damn it.
It's only good if someone not on the camera.
Yeah, so I've been shitting on these dudes so much with GIFs that if one of them posted it to their own Facebook page saying, I think this guy is shitting on me.
Thank you for doing I was going to say that disservice to them, but it's also a service to them.
Yeah.
Because they realize how fucking retarded
they don't.
But they're so
ninjas.
They're so oblivious to their own ego that they have no clue how dumb they look.
But I wanted to give a disclosure, so if for any reason this podcast stops in the next week, I've for sure been murdered by ninjas. I'm not sure whether it was the Black Dragon Fight Society clan.
Either this podcast stops because Chris has been murdered by a ninja, or we have murdered a ninja trying to murder us.
That's right. Oh, god damn it. I will fuck... Jesus Christ. The least athletic motherfuckers you've ever seen in those videos.
I love to give them the old right there, Fred.
God damn it. Oh, I wish I could embed GIFs in the podcast artwork, because it would just be that dude humping the entire...
No, we could probably do it in the body of the text. Yeah, you can do it in the body.
I can also probably do it on the YouTube video to where it's just him humping the entire video.
Okay, dude,
So
the
maybe
YouTube
I'll do
video,
that.
at the point we mentioned this in the podcast, it'd just be all of a sudden just like, see like him just doing that, and then just like, you keep going.
May have to do that. So look forward to that. But yeah, I've insulted ninjas on the internet, and I will.
You
I will
remember
never survive.
what Dom Cruz did to that ninja in Brazil? Yeah, that's what ninjas mean to MMA.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Anyway, now that we've covered how ninjas are gonna murder me, we will go ahead and get into this UFC, 213 and TUF finale cards, which are gonna be fucking awesome, I believe, from everything I've seen. I will go ahead and get off. Oh wait, I forgot to show you. Yeah, I did tweet out from our Twitter account.
Ooh, new Spider-Man's awesome.
I tweeted out that. I did tweet the Angie Hill thing, and then I said, the Ninja Fight thread on the UG has made this a very weird week, but it did teach me how to make GIFs, so here's a ninja humping his friend. So if you follow us on Twitter, TSOVPod, you can see that ninja humping the shit out of his friend for eternity. Real good time. All right. So now that we've covered that horrific fucking nonsense, I am going to pull up this card. So this TUF finale card, I think is actually, in parts, kind of better than the other one.
Better than 213?
The prelims,
Yeah, it's definitely better than
it's kind of fucking
it's better than the
weird.
card for sure, yeah.
Like, it's weird how much of that TUF finale card is it a Fight Pass or is it FS1?
Dude, I have no idea. I think it's FS1.
I think it is too, which doesn't like.
Let's find out.
I don't think this will say.
Oh, let me look it up.
Yeah, go ahead and look it up. But I mean, this card is kind of stacked from top to bottom. This this TUF finale card, it's kind of fucking stacked. Like, it gets a little weak towards the middle third, but man, there's some fucking bites in this card. I guess we'll go ahead and start off at the bottom. Juliana Lima taking on Tisha Torres. Tisha Torres has said she literally took this fight because they weren't offering her any fucking fights. And rather than sit out and wait for... I can't remember who it was she's waiting for.
Yeah, it's on Box Sports 1.
FS1? Really?
Yeah.
Man, it's weird how much more stacked these prelims are than the other ones. I'm kind of surprised. Tisha Torres, of course, coming off the loss to Rose Namajunas and the win over Beck Rawlings, which was super definitive. And she's been saying on Twitter she's been looking for a fight. They just haven't, Dana White style. They just haven't signed her to one. Of course, Juliana Lima coming off that win over JJ Aldrich, which blew me away. And that loss, Carlos Barza.
Striking volume, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a JJ Aldrich, yeah.
Yeah, well, and JJ Aldrich, I mean, that was a tough fight, but she definitely took that. And which way are you leaning on this one? Because before I throw picks out.
I think I'm going to go Tisha Torres. She's a more experienced fighter, I believe, at least in the UFC. I liked her previous win, and I see this going to a decision. As goofy as it is to kind of made that kind of prediction, it's kind of really tough to call a finish in this weight class, really. Unless you're a JJ or a Striker or Rose.
Actually, I disagree. I think there's a lot of finishes in this weight class. It's mostly by sub, though. Or
yeah, see, don't listen to me, guys. I'm oblivious to that.
Because, think about how many people Rose has finished. Think about how many people fucking JJ... Well, JJ, I guess, hasn't been finishing people lately. But I feel like there's, I was 35. Yeah, I guess there's a decent amount of decisions, to be fair. But I feel like there's a decent amount of subs at that weight class, too. Yeah, I'm leaning Tisha as well. I think Juliana Lima... Overall, I think it's going to be a close fight. I think it's going to be tough, but I think Tisha is just too active and too... is going to put too much pressure on Juliana to really let Juliana shine at all in this one enough to get a decision. Gray Maynard, Teruto Ishihara. Where are my bitches, Ishihara?
Yeah, you know what? This one's pretty easy for me.
Yeah? Which way you leaning?
Even though he's old as shit, I'm going with Gray Maynard.
Really?
That Teruto Ishihara lost to Artem, the T-Rex Lobov, and that he looked very unresponsive.
Gray Maynard lost to Ryan Hill in his last fight.
I know, Ryan Hall, he's 50
Ryan Hall, rather, yeah.
He's pulling guard the whole time, I know, so I can't really talk shit, but
he was pulling guard and fucking hook kicking him in the fucking face the entire time.
Yeah, I think it's because he was anticipating Ryan Hall to get up, and obviously, clearly, Gray's not gonna just try to go in someone's guard. Cerudo, on the other hand, was fully in a stand-up only fight against fucking Artem Lobov, who I know he has power, but dude, that was one of the worst fights I've ever witnessed in my life, and I hated both those fighters and how they both showed up very sloppily. And at this point, Gray Maynard's been a sloppy fighter. I'm not saying that's because he's old, but because hasn't looked great. So I just feel like a guy like Gray Maynard, who's kind of on the end of his career and hasn't looked great, versus Terusa Ishihara, who is supposed to look great and still looks shitty. I'm just going the more experienced fighter here, and I don't know. Don't get me wrong, it's probably a pick-em, and whatever, Ishihara will probably win, but I'm just going Gray Maynard because I feel like if it's someone that engages in the stand-up, he's the least going to fucking throw hands.
That's probably a smart pick. Now that you're saying that, I could see Gray winning a lot of wrestling exchanges and clinch exchanges against Ishihara. I'm still going to lean Ishihara just because he's fucking weird and young, and dudes like that make a lot of advancements in between fights, especially off of losses. Because he lost that fight to Artem, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, decision.
And he still fucked Artem up in parts of that fight as well. So I like Ishihara in this. I just by again activity similar to the Tisha Torres fight, and actually our next fight as well. I just feel like the more active dude is going to win this, and I think it's going to be Ishihara. Speaking of active, Jessica Ai taking on Aspen Ladd. I love this fight.
Yeah, I'm going to go Aspen Ladd in this. I've seen her, I think, fight twice in Invicta.
Yep.
I know a lot of people are kind of tough on Invicta fighters making the transition to the UFC.
They're not educated if they're saying that. Because
I think that's complete
how's
bullshit.
Cyborg doing, first off?
Because look at Watterson, look at Hill. They've made the transition. Look at Cyborg.
Yeah.
Already fucking people
Rose Namajunas,
Evanger
Tisha
about
Torres.
to make her transition.
Everybody forgets half of Carlos Esparza.
Yeah, so
everyone forgets all the fucking fighters that come over.
Assumption. Jessica Ai, in my opinion, has not looked good in her past. I think it was 2 or 3 fights. Oh, so 4 fights.
Yeah,
I mean, she's fought killers.
She's had okay moments in a couple of them. Juliana Pena fight, she had moments in, but didn't look amazing.
You shouldn't be losing to Betch Kohei in a split decision. But other than that, Sarah McMahon, I don't want to say that it's a winnable fight because Sarah McMahon
started looking much better recently as well. And the ground game has always been Jessica Ai's issue.
I just like Aspen Ladd because I've seen her more recently, I guess, and I like her ground game and just her clinch control and being able to do the transitions and passing guard. I know she hasn't fought a who's who like Jessica Ai has, but I guess it's just more of a hunch. If Jessica Ai wins, it's probably because she has more experience in the UFC. Obviously, she's been the UFC fighter longer, and she's fought better, more experienced fighters, but I could just see the younger talent. Even though Aspen Ladd's only 22, I kind of see her... I don't know. I just see her as her coming out party, I guess.
Yeah, I think Aspen Ladd's going to do big things in this fight just off of her pressure and her sharp, Jim Miller-esque fucking meat and potatoes boxing. She's really active. She's really good at managing distance and not getting fucked up in the wrestling department. It'll be interesting to see how the size difference plays into this, because I don't believe Aspen Ladd's a very big 135er. Although neither is Jessica Ai, so I don't know how much that's going to play in. I do know Aspen Ladd is tough as shit, especially off that Sajara Eubanks win, where Sajara was banging her with some big shots, but she just kind of walked through it. I've been high on Aspen Ladd for a while, and actually, it was funny, Eugene Robinson this week on Care Don't Care was like, I don't care about this fight, and I know right now, someone's literally typing saying, you're sleeping on Aspen Ladd, and right as he said that, I was typing, oh, you're sleeping on Aspen Ladd in my notes for the show, so, I honestly think Aspen Ladd's gonna have a big coming out party against Jessica Ai, and, I hope it doesn't mean they cut Jessica Ai. I don't think she's worthy of getting cut yet.
Yeah, no.
Despite being on a huge loss streak right now, if she loses this one. But she's a scrappy, gatekeeper kind of role, and if she gets a win over Aspen Ladd, that's a huge statement for where she sits in that division, I think. So I definitely lean Ladd in that fight, but I think it'll be a lot more fun than people are expecting. Speaking of a lot more fun than people are expecting, Ed Herman, CB Dollaway. This could be a weird fucking fight.
Wow. So Ed Herman, let me see. Okay.
He's coming off that brutal head kick win or head kick loss against Nikita Krylov, where he got 1-2'd and then high kicked, and he went out fucking hard.
A year ago, I think the last time I saw him fight was when he fucking kneed Tim Boetsch in the face.
Yeah, it was brutal.
I know. Wait, what was the fight? Was he the guy who had the fake McGregor look, where he had like the fake? Tattoo?
No, that's Tom Lawler.
Yeah, I get him and Herman mixed up all the time.
Yeah.
I think they're both redheads, I think. Yeah, and we got CB Dollaway, who I haven't really seen in a while either. I haven't seen these guys in a while. When was the last time Dollaway fought?
I believe the last time he fought was back in 2015. I didn't realize it'd been that long.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going Ed Herman. I know, granted, it's been about almost a year since he fought, but almost 2 year layoff for CB Dollaway. Granted, he's faced Nate Marquardt, who is not nearly as good as he was when he was in Strikeforce.
I mean, if you look at his last 3 losses, it's a guy who knocked out the 170 champ, a guy who's the 185 champ, and a guy who's the previous 185 champ.
Or 205 champ.
Yeah. So, like, that's a fucking rough lineup right there. And a win over Francis Carmont and Mouton Ferreira before that. Like, that's a hell of a run, man. Despite those 3 losses, like... Those are some rough fucking contenders. Albeit 2015 Nate Marquardt isn't quite old school Nate Marquardt, but still a tough motherfucker. So which way are you leaning in this one?
I think I'm going Herman. I think it's going to be... These guys haven't fought in a while, obviously, so they're just going to size each other out and probably play the distance game, distance management. Maybe just piece each other up via jabs and just clinch work, and I think it's going to go decision via Ed Herman. He's probably going to have more volume on a CB Dollaway.
Yeah, I think so too. I think most likely, I think how it'll go is I think Ed Herman probably just puts too much pressure on. They talked actually about on I think it was MMA Vivisection this week. Talked about how Ed Herman is the kind of striker who surprises people because he's been working pads and striking so long that even though they can see his first and second punch coming, he's the kind of guy who's just going to throw 4 punches out of instinct because he's been throwing on pads so long that he'll sometimes catch people off guard with the last 2 or 3 punches in a combination just because they're not expecting that many in a row just to come like back to back to back like that. And I think that could probably be an issue for CB Dollaway. CB Dollaway's had a history of getting backed up a little bit against fence, especially as of late, and getting popped. I wonder how much that's going to play into this. I feel like CB Dollaway probably has a size advantage in this fight. But having not seen him in a while, I just can't. I always kind of lean against inactivity, so I'm definitely going to Ed Herman in that one with short fuse. Let's see. Up next, we got this is where we start getting into the fun fights. Not that some of these weren't, but these next handful are a lot of fun. Or a couple of them. Yeah, fuck! I just spilled beer all over myself.
This next fight is fun.
James Crouch, Tom Galicchio. Why don't you talk about this while I unbeer my entire fucking life right
so
now.
Those who watched this season of The Ultimate Fighter 25 Redemption, James Krause just lost this week's episode against Jesse Taylor via WrestleFuck. James Krause was already...
way too small for fucking Jesse Taylor.
James Krause was already a UFC vet while this show was filming, so we kind of figured he would make it either far in the show or just survive in general. Yeah, he made it to the Final Four. Good on him. Now he gets to fight fellow teammate, Team Dillashaw teammate, Tom Galicchio. Toothless Tom, probably one of the most well-liked, respected fighters ever on The Ultimate Fighter. He's just someone you can't not like. Tom Galicchio, I would say, is a wrestler.
Yeah, he's like the Roxanne Modafferi of that show.
Yeah.
Where
Tom
everyone just likes
Galicchio
him.
is an awesome guy. He's a wrestler. That's his main game, his bread and butter. I'd say Krause's main bread and butter is, I guess, jiu-jitsu in a sense, because he's a brown belt, but I think more or less it's this kind of distance management and counter-striking with his length.
Yeah, it's a little bit of both, really. Like, he's got... That whole camp does a lot of things well, but it feels like none of them have, like... Zach Cummins isn't a great wrestler. He isn't, like... I mean, he is, but, like... I feel like what he's known for mainly is just
James Crosby fights out of Kansas City with Tim Elliott, like Zach Cummings and a couple other guys.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of those guys are just good in transitions more than any specific area.
If I were to say how's this fight's gonna go, I'm gonna go James Crosby decision, mainly because Tom Galicki is a tough son of a bitch, so he's not gonna get finished in my opinion. I know Kraus is more experienced in the jiu-jitsu. Galicki is probably the better overall wrestler, but Galicki is not nearly the size as Jesse Taylor. And James Kraus did show some decent wrestling scrambles against Jesse Taylor, given that size disadvantage. And he actually almost sunk in a rear naked, although it was for like maybe 2 seconds. So I definitely think James Kraus will have the size advantage. Tom Galicki is not nearly as experienced on the feet, so I'm going to have to go James Crosby decision right here.
Yeah, I think so too. I just don't think Galicki is going to be able to put like the different combinations of sequences together that he's going to need to finish this fight. I think he'll probably get James Cross down at some point. I think James Cross will probably pop right back up. I think he'll probably get into some crazy exchanges, and I think James Cross probably ends up just eventually cracking Tom Galicki bad enough that I don't know if actually this is Ultimate Fighter. No, it's not. The other one is. So yeah, no, I go probably Cross by decision. I could see Cross getting a finish via TKO probably, but Tom's so fucking tough. Who knows? I do think it's gonna be super one-sided though. Much like I feel like this next fight is going to be Angie Hill versus Ashley Yoder.
Yeah.
Which way you leaning on that one?
Angie Hill.
Wow. To be fair,
We're
full
biased.
Disclosure, super biased. Oh, big Angie Hill fan.
I have watched Ashley Yoder from The Ultimate Fighter about 2 years ago. She was very game because of her length and everything,
Yep.
but I'm going to take Angie Hill's Invicta experience and championship pedigree any day over Ashley Yoder, who's still pretty green. And,
Especially Angie Hill coming off of like not a close
fight against
decision,
fucking,
but
Jessica
a
Andrade.
good decision against Jessica Andrade, where she went deep into that fight, and despite getting bombed on a couple times,
that
like
was thrown at her, yeah.
she still was coming forward and fucking throwing, and like she has said a couple times that she thinks she moved too much in that fight. I think people are misinterpreting some of what she meant by that. Like, not that she should have just stood and traded with Andrade, but that she should have picked shots to plant and throw.
Yeah.
Which she is what was winning her shit in Invicta. Is she would like plant and throw and then immediately back off rather than like constantly doing the who's the guy that's fucking famous for not committing to any goddamn punch. I can't remember who I'm thinking of, but instead of doing that shit where you're like, Phil Davis striking, where
Yes.
like every jab you throw, it looks like you're retracting it faster than you're pushing it out because you're trying not to get hit afterwards. And she didn't have that kind of hesitancy, but she definitely was like moving way more than normal. And I think it was the MMA Vivisection guys that said, it'll be interesting to see once she's able to work that combination of where to pick your power shots versus just constant movement for movement's sake. Like, where, like, once you get that, because all those guys they mentioned as well, all those guys like Dominic Cruz and all those heavy foot, like, all those heavy movement guys always have trouble at the beginning until they figure out the balance between that stuff.
Yep.
And it feels like she's feeling that out. Also, people underestimate how fucking good her jiu-jitsu and ground game has gotten. People did not watch the Olivia Hinato Souza fight, which was fucking insane in Invicta. It was literally Olivia Hinato Souza jumping on crazy chokes and arm bars and shit the entire time, and it was Angela Hill defending everything correctly and bombing on her. It was one of the most impressive performances I've seen from someone who like literally went from having the most obvious gap in their skill to working on nothing but that obvious gap, and it's she's been showing it more and more as time has gone on. I mean, again, Queen Madera, she fucking had that super dominant performance again. So I think this Ashley Yoder fight is going to be pretty similar. I mean, I don't dislike Ashley Yoder. I haven't seen anything from Ashley Yoder that like has gotten my attention necessarily. She had the win over over Amber Brown in Invicta, which is a really good win. She got that arm bar. And she had the loss to Justine Kish, which we've seen since then. Justine Kish is tough as shit.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yes.
And,
Literally.
and I'd like to see this fight. I'm excited about this fight, but I think this is a showcase fight for Angie Hill, 100%. Marcel Fortuna versus Jordan Johnson. I have almost no opinion on this fight.
I agree with that sentiment. Dude, to be honest, I have no idea who the fuck any of these fighters are. I'm so sorry to these fighters.
Oh, it's all good. I mean, you actually, that's not true. You've known like at least half of them.
Let me see who they fought.
Anthony Hamilton is the
Oh,
last
dude, I saw this fight this year. Anthony was a big motherfucker. He was the guy that was hyped out of Jackson.
Yep.
Right?
He was the one who got knocked.
Yeah, and he got knocked. Yeah, he was the Jackson guy. Like, hey, this guy's like the next John Jones. Man.
Yep.
And then he got knocked the fuck out.
It was brutal. And he's taking on Jordan Johnson, who I've not heard of. Jordan Johnson has evidently I have, because I picked against him before. Because he fought Luis Enrique da Silva. So... I don't know, man. These are heavyweights, right?
I'm just going with Marcel Fortuna because he beat the fuck out of the guy that was hyped out of Jackson's. And if you're hyped out of Jackson Wink, that's pretty dope. So
yeah,
I know that's really fucked up because I don't know how their game works on either side, and if they're grappling or striking oriented, but. Yeah, I gotta go. And I like how you're keeping track of that. That's actually fucking brilliant that we're doing that.
Yeah, I am finally keeping track of picks so we can fucking remember this shit. I'm also leaning Fortuna. I think I think he's had more experience, and I don't know nearly enough about Jordan Johnson. I hope someone shows up in this fucking fight, so there's someone in the light heavy division, because it's a rough fucking division currently, but I don't have much. This is pretty much coin toss as far as I'm concerned. I'm just going with Fortuna off of experience. Elias Theodorou versus Brett Tavares. Weird fight. Elias Theodorou coming off the weird wins over Sam Alvey and Cesar Ferreira. Especially the Sam Alvey win was so fucking frustrating to watch. Maybe it's because I like Sam Alvey a lot. As we mentioned recently, I talked to him not that long ago, but fucking frustrating. And then, of course, Brett Tavares coming off the loss to Robert Whitaker and the win over Kyle Malguez.
Yeah, I hate this matchup. I really do.
It's weird.
It's not fun.
I think it's going to be rough.
I'm going to go with Brad Tavares in a terrible fight. I think he's going to be actually not scared to throw hands early, as Elias Theodorou always is, apparently. In the past 3 fights I've watched him, he just likes to, I don't want to say dance around.
He really likes to circle and throw shitty body kicks.
Thank you. Yeah, that's all I got to say about him, and I like the guy Tavares who's not afraid to let his hands fly. Sure, he got knocked the fuck out by Bobby Knuckles, but anyone really should at this point. Yeah, I don't. I just don't trust Elias Theodorou to throw hands. He's not going to change with him. There's no fucking way.
Plus,
he's going to dance around and try to shoot.
When your last 3 losses are Robert Whitaker, Tim Bosch, and Yoel Romero, it's not bad.
Who you fought.
And then before that, you have Lorenz Larkin on there. You're not doing bad. Bubba is
not really, but
Bubba.
He was hyped by John Jones.
Yeah, Bubba is a boy. Yeah, I definitely like Brad Tavares in this as well. Yeah. I like him probably by decision, but I would not be surprised if he was able to just throw enough volume to get TK over Theodorou. Jared Cannonier, the Killer Gorilla, coming off the loss to Glover Teixeira and then went over Jan Cutelaba.
Wrestle fucked.
Yep. And then he's taking on a no-picture fighter on Silhouette.
Fighting Nick the Silhouette Rorik.
Yeah, he weighs 218 evidently as a heavyweight, and he's coming out of Combat Night Pro in April.
Yeah, I'm going with Jared Cannonier.
I am as well, because what the fuck, heavyweight division?
So this Nick
it's Rorik, a 218er.
Okay, this is what's gonna happen. We're both going for Jared Cannonier, which is the safe bet. Mm-hmm. The only reason why they're giving this Nick Rorik a fight is because he's the shit at 7-0, and he's a big fucking body.
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows?
I could just be
we'll see.
uneducated.
Hey, we'll see tomorrow.
For sure.
But if anyone else is a betting man or they want to go with the safe bets, go with us and pick Cannonier or Cannonier, whoever the fuck.
I'm sure if you're betting on this, the odds are going to be so fucking lopsided, it's not going to be worth it.
That too.
If you really want to get crazy, you can maybe try taking, I don't know what the odds are for Cannonier by decision, or Cannonier by decision, but, yeah, I don't know. Mark Diakese versus Drakkar Klose.
Be fucking tight.
It will be.
As Kenny Florian said, Mark Diakese is fighting his cologne he wore in middle school as I wore in, I think, middle school, high school too, Drakkar.
Yeah.
Drakkar Noir.
That's right. Coming off the win over Timu Pakulin and Frankie Perez, as well as Shevchenko.
I've been very impressed with Mark Diakese.
Me too. God damn.
Very explosive fighter.
I saw his, I don't know if it was Bama 22 or Bama 25 fight that I saw.
And who the fuck was he
where he was just murdering motherfuckers.
Who was he talking shit to on Twitter? He was going back and forth with someone.
I don't
remember.
It
was a big name fighter. He was like almost out like Quinta.
Yeah. He's been
big. Yeah.
He's been super vocal on Twitter for sure.
Oh, and you know who it was? Paul Felder.
Oh, that'd be a fun fight. Paul Felder's probably...
Shit. He kept saying, Paul Felder, you're not really Irish, mate. You fucking cunt, kind of thing. That's basically what he was telling him. Like, don't call yourself the Irish Dragon. You're American. Blah. He doesn't understand bloodlines, whatever. I mean,
Diakese's not Irish either, so...
Yeah, he's British.
Calm down,
by nationality.
Right. Also, you should probably try and fight Marcus, the Irish hand grenade first, then.
Yes.
Marcus
what
Davis.
What about the Irish car bomb? That'd be pretty tight too.
Yeah, fight some Irish car bombs. I'll watch that. Yeah, he's taking on Drakkar Klose. I mean, go ahead and take your pick on this. It's cool seeing Drakkar Klose, someone who's a TPF veteran from Tachi.
I've heard good things about Drakkar Klose. He's looked
good.
I haven't seen him fight. I mean, I probably did see him fight.
Rodriguez fan, so you probably did.
Yeah, I just like Mark Diakese just based on just the past 2-3 fights I've seen him in. His striking prowess, his explosiveness, he can fucking jump real high with those knees.
Crazy takedown.
I like. That's it. Dude, I got him to finish this guy Drakkar.
Oh, I totally agree. Yeah, he's nothing but slams and fucking wild strikes the entire time, and eventually that'll catch up to him. I just don't think this is the fight where it happens. Yeah. If you're beating dudes like Frankie Perez, I don't think Drakkar Klose has shit for you, unless I don't know something about Drakkar Klose that I should. Jesse Taylor, Diego Lima.
The TUF finale, the 2 finalists from TUF 25.
Weird finale. I still argue that the reason why Krause lost that fight against Jesse Taylor is because he's 2 weight classes below Jesse Taylor. But yeah, Diego Lima, Jesse Taylor.
Jesse Taylor, by the way, fighting out of San Diego County in Poway.
Yeah.
Well, that's where he lives, at least.
Stop telling people that, Chris.
Yeah, no one gives a fuck.
I don't want that to be associated with this city. I don't need that in my life.
Your little fucking the hump master here, Jesse Taylor.
Yeah, everybody go watch Jesse Taylor dancing gifs. They're all over. I've been putting them everywhere. Oh, man. So, who are you leaning towards in this one?
I like Diego Lima because, I mean, sure, he's only an inch taller, but he's way more of an experienced striker than James Krause was that we just saw this week. So I think he's going to be able to keep his distance. I like his takedown defense from his fights earlier when he fought Tom Galicchio, who's a decent wrestler. And I think and when Diego Lima fought Gilbert Smith, who's a very established wrestler too. He has excellent sprawl defense. He impressed me and you both during this season of The Ultimate Fighter.
For sure.
I know Jesse Taylor's still the bigger guy, like wide, like in a wide stance, or maybe like muscle-wise, he's probably stronger physically, but the fact that Lima is good with the kicks, and just that sprawl defense, I just gotta go with him. He's a more seasoned veteran, and he trains with his champion brother Douglas at ATT in Atlanta, man. Like
that's really why what's making a big influence on my pick, just because the way his takedown defense has improved and how good his brother's takedown defense has gotten is really making me confident in the fact that he's going to fuck Jesse Taylor up.
Let's be hypothetics real quick before we get to the main event. Say Diego does win this. What do you give him next? A top 15 welterweight? You got it, right? Might as well.
Oh, for sure, top 15. Maybe top 10, depending on... I almost would just give... Actually, no, welter is...
I almost would just give Mike Perry. Something like that.
No, I give him whoever Mike Perry just beat. Something like that.
Oh, so Jake Ellenberger?
Yeah,
That's a good fight.
Maybe even somebody a little bit easier than Jake Ellenberger, but like one spot below Jake Ellenberger.
Yeah, I can't think right now. We could always talk
just because Jake Ellenberger hits so fucking hard.
He hits fucking hard, yeah.
And like that is like,
and he has good wrestling
you don't want to ruin.
He actually is an NCAA All-American, I think, too. Yeah,
Jake Ellenberger's underrated.
Yeah.
And I forgot that's who he last fight. I still think Diego Lima could take Ellenberger, but Ellenberger would be a tough task. But yeah, I'd like to see him take on somebody at the very bottom of the top, probably 15 or so, something like that. But if he fucks, it depends on how he looks in this fight. If he just fucking destroys Jesse Taylor in 10 seconds, then maybe throw him out. And that brings us to the main event: Justin Gaethje versus Michael Johnson.
Yep.
This is gonna be a fucking cool fight, man. This is gonna be one of those fights that, like, people are sleeping on. Like, even though people are talking about how they're excited for this, I feel like a lot of people don't realize how cool Justin Gaethje is to watch fight. Like, he's one of the scariest people of all time.
Yeah, he's one of the most violent lightweights on the planet. Like,
literally, like, people say that a lot.
He blocks.
He's violent as fuck.
The way he charges forward with his guard as far as his boxing goes. He blocks with his forehead. It might sound a little crazy to people who don't quite understand.
Yeah,
how that
Jack
works,
Slack had a good breakdown on that.
Yeah, basically, he likes to take volume on his forehead and dish out counterattacks with his right low leg kick. That he whips that shit so goddamn fast.
So fucking hard with that leg kick.
And especially at Michael Johnson, who's an orthodox fighter. Sure, Michael Johnson does have fantastic hand speed. One of the fastest hands in the game, courtesy of his striking coach, Henry Hoof at Combat Club. But yeah, I mean...
And Michael Johnson looked fucking incredible against Poirier.
He did too. So,
and Poirier is like a scrapper, kind of like Gaethje. Also, is Gaethje left-handed? I don't remember.
Fuck, I think he's orthodox too.
He's standing orthodox. I think he's orthodox.
This is the thing. This fight
is Michael left-handed?
No, I think he's orthodox.
Sure. I think Michael might be left-handed.
Maybe he is southpaw.
I think he is.
He probably is southpaw.
One of them is, I believe, and I think it's Michael. One of them. I could be mixing that up, though.
I see this fight going of two ways. My pick, as of now, I can see why people said this is a pick'em. Brett Okamoto considers this a pick'em because of the high volume. Michael Johnson has struggled against pressure fighters. Kind of like, sometimes. It depends. Justin Gaethje is the biggest question mark as far as what kind of Justin Gaethje is going to show up. Is he going to be the Justin Gaethje that pressures all the time and shows his skills with his hands and he can absorb punches? Or is he be the Justin Gaethje who takes his time but still takes too many shots to the head because he's trying to be too technical? I think this fight's going to be Michael Johnson is too fast with his hands and he's going to piece up Justin Gaethje, and I'm predicting a TKO round 4 or something like that late after Justin Gaethje's kind of tired out. I think there are going to be a lot of wrestling exchanges that's going to go to the ground. I see Justin Gaethje taking down Michael Johnson because he's a superior wrestler a couple times. I think it'll be a very, very close fucking fight. But I think in the end it'll come to Michael Johnson because I know he has good cardio. Finishing him off, I guess.
I agree with you on all that, except I don't see this leading maybe the second round. Max third round. Both these guys are going to throw motherfucking heaters the entire time. There's no way they both don't just throw fucking everything into every punch.
Death bombs, yeah.
It's going to be wild exchanges, and it's such a toss-up. My head says just Michael Johnson should be more technical and should be able to stay on the outside of Justin Gaethje's swarm and just kind of pick his shots and put him out. However, I'm going Justin Gaethje because I've never seen that dude take a shot and not throw 20 times more.
That is true, dude. He's
that kind of volume and not give a fuckitude is what fucks with Michael Johnson. See Nate Diaz.
That's a good point too, because
chins are not good for Michael Johnson. Like, he has trouble against dudes with chin.
And that's a good point, too, because I remember, I think it might have been Jack Slack who said, how long could a chin last in the UFC? In my opinion, you just look at Frankie Edgar.
But Frankie Edgar is not a guy. He was a guy early in his career who got hit a lot. Nowadays, he doesn't get hit nearly what he used to.
Either way,
Justin Gaethje still gets hit in every fucking fight so hard.
I saw the last, 3 fights. I saw the fight Justin Gaethje did against Brian Foster where he TKO'd the fuck out of his leg. I saw the fight against Luis Firmino, where Firmino was, I think, in my opinion, winning that whole fight until the doctor stoppage because the volume he was pushing on. But that whole fight, Gaethje was taking fucking haymakers and just not even flinching.
No,
he wasn't even phased. So his chin is rock solid. I don't care what kind of competition, what league, promotion you're in. Michael Johnson, yeah, he hits hard, yeah, he hits fast, but I still think Justin Gaethje is going to eat those for breakfast, too, so.
True. I think, this will be a wild fight. If this goes out the third round, this is an easy fight of the year contender, I have a feeling. If it goes like 4, like you're saying, and Johnson finishes him, that is an easy fight of the year contender, just based off of what the fuck. Like, I can't imagine that being 3 rounds of wrestle fucking. I just can't. He's not going to Eddie Alvarez this shit. As much as I love that game plan. And I think that's going to be a fun fucking fight. So, definitely look forward to that card tomorrow night, actually, when we're recording this. So, hopefully I'll get this shit up tonight. And then, I guess we should roll right into the next fight. What do we got? We got 213, right?
Yeah. The pay-per-view on Saturday.
So we pull up the 213 card.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, mark that. And then
I got it. I'll do that while we start breaking down this next one.
There you go.
213, Nunes versus Shevchenko. Chris, why don't you go ahead and break down these 2 dudes we've never heard of while I fill this out.
First of all, very impressive.
By the way, do you now know what I mean by, like, the prelims of the FS1 card are way stronger?
Yeah.
Like, I've never even fucking heard of these first
of all,
two fights.
this first guy, very impressive made-up first name. You could decide on Trevor or Kevin, so you went with Trevin.
I'm into it.
Trevin Giles.
It sounds like a fighter I have on MMA Tycoon, for sure.
Houston, Texas. You're a middleweight. You're Texas Elite MMA. You fought in LFC, LFA, well, let's just call it LFA now? Yeah.
LFA now.
Yeah. So it's not too bad. James Bochnovich, I guess his name is. I have no idea how you say that.
Sure. Yeah. Bochnovich.
Let's see this guy. Who's he fought?
He has recently taken on
don't know.
Some dudes in WXFC and a Bellator fight.
So I'm imagining that's World Extreme Cage Fighting, something like that.
Nope, Wisconsin Extreme Cage Fighting.
Oh, great. So, Midwest.
First round sub over some dude named Matthew Paul at Rampage King Mo 2.
Wayman Carter. That reminds me of the show Workaholics. The character's name is Wayman, which means that sucks that someone named you that. So he beat someone named Wayman.
Yeah, both these guys have some pretty impressive sub victories. I don't know.
This is probably the biggest.
I mean, it's a toss-up.
This is probably the biggest pick-em,
yeah.
But since this guy named James Bochnovich has a fuckload of submissions in a row,
that's true.
I'm going with him. So he's a rear naked fucking master. I'm going with him. Fuck it, why not?
All right, I'll go Giles just to keep it interesting. I think, I mean, Giles looks like he has a little bit more diversity in his finishes. And he's coming out of LFA, which is a super legit promotion. Both guys have been active lately, so I literally have seen 0 tape on these dudes. So, that dude's coming out of Rothwell's camp. That's worth something.
That's cool.
I don't have much of a take on that one. Tyrion Ware versus Cody Stamen.
Sure. Stamon?
Again,
I don't know.
Both dudes, I don't know who the fuck they are.
Wait, what's the weight? Wait, what's
Pacey
that weight? Am I tripping right now? Hold on. Yes, wait.
35.
135. Oh, he's short. Okay, no, sorry. He looked bigger in the picture. Trip me out.
Let's see. Tyrion Ware has the win over Jared Pazian at CXF7, locked and loaded. Great name, CXF. Also had a fight at ACB 51 that he won, which is pretty cool.
ACB is that promotion that is fucked up, right?
Well, it's a good promotion, bad promoter.
Okay.
The promoter is a giant homophobe piece of shit.
So then we got Cody Stamen looks like Zac Efron from High School Musical.
He does look very fucking weird in this picture. His picture looks like a fucking Photoshop character in MMA Tycoon, 100%. Out of Michigan top team, win in KOP, whatever the fuck that is. Knockout Promotions. How did I not do that math? Yeah, this is another toss-up. I don't know. Who you liking in this? One guy's at 45 or one guy's at 35 I wonder what weight class is that.
Ooh, the heavier guy.
Yeah, I'll do that too. Actually, no, you know what? Just to make it fun, I'll go with the guy who's not stealing Phil Davis's nickname.
Yeah, this the guy fighting Zac Efron from High School Musical.
Oh my god.
Am I right?
That's pretty good side by side.
I blame this on my little cousins when I was visiting them in Idaho. They had this song when I was there, which was like 6 or 7 years ago. So, yeah.
Congratulations, Chris. You just made our fucking artwork for the week because I'm going to Photoshop that dude.
Am I right, though? Like, what the fuck?
No, send me that picture right now, and I'm going to Photoshop that cage behind Zac Efron.
I'll do it right now.
And we will have a side-by-side for our image for the week. Mr. Wonderful, you're stealing Zac Efron's look and Phil Davis's nickname. I'm not into it. So I'm going Tyrion Flash.
Yeah. I'm going with Zac Efron, but I hope Tyrion wins.
There you go.
Yeah, that's fucked up, but that's the way she fucking goes.
Yeah, what you gonna do, right?
I just sent you our thing of the week.
Perfect. Rob Font at 135 out of Team Sit-Yodong is coming off the win over Matt Schnell and the loss to John Lineker, taking on Douglas De Silva de Andrade. Jesus fucking Christ, what a nickname.
Great record.
What a name. Wins over Cody Gibson and Enrique Briones, lost to Zybero Tukagov, which is fucking no shame, and then a bunch of jungle fight wins. Interesting fight. This is one of those there's a lot of toss-ups in these young or in these early prelims.
I am going with Rob Font because I saw him fight last, I think 2 or 3 fights ago, and he was impressive as shit. I think against a fighter he wasn't supposed to beat, I believe. I know it's not that great insight. I apologize for listening when I don't know exactly who it was he fought. But I'm just remembering what my eyes have seen recently, unfortunately. And I just remember Rob Font looked like a motherfucker at bantamweight.
Yeah,
all things considered as far as where his ranking was.
He just fought, what's his face? Matt Schnell and John Lineker.
Who was a TUF 24, I think, semifinalist.
Yep.
Even though that was a flyweight, it doesn't matter. Most of those flyweights are bantamweights, really.
True.
They're just killing themselves to make weight. I'm talking about you, Tim Elliott.
Tim, I'm trying to fight the entire TUF.
Let me bang again, Elliott. Bro. Yeah. It's fair. He did have a really good point, though.
It's pretty good. Let's see. So you're leaning.
I'm going Rob Font. I have no idea about the method of victory. I'm just picking him straight up. I don't know if that's kind of cheating to not go with method of victory.
No, I gotta go Rob Font as well. Just because of the experience.
I just don't know much about, unfortunately, this guy. That's why I hate.
Beating Cody Six Guns is a big fucking move, but this dude's been gone a year before his 2016, his November 2016 fight, which makes me nervous. Whenever you have like a long like Cody's been in Tachi for like a year and a half since like that fight that he had with him. So I'm gonna lean Rob Font as well. However, I'd be interested to see what the fuck is his nickname? De Silva looks like.
Douglas De Silva de Andrade.
There's so many fucking nicknames for Brazilians.
It's probably their parents were arguing over what their last name should be.
True. One of my most anticipated fights of the weekend, Jordan Mean, the young gun out of Canada, taking on Bilal, remember the name, Muhammad, one of my favorite fighters that's an up-and-comer. Young gun is coming off the losses to Emil Weber-Meek and Thiago Alves, and then the wins over Mike Pyle and Perpetuo. Bilal, remember the names, coming off that win over Randy Brown, the loss of Vincente Luque, and the win over Augusto Montano. Chris, which way are you leaning on this? I kind of have a feeling which way you're going to go.
All right, well, I would say Jordan Mean, usually because, if you lose 3 in a row, usually that's it. 3 strikes, you're out in the UFC. I know Jordan Mean's very talented.
Tough dude who's been around for a while, yeah.
I haven't seen him fight in a while, though, so I can't remember what his bread and butter is as far as his style matchup is, as far as, like, striking or grappling. I do know Bilal Muhammad, though, is a very solid striker and has decent takedown defense from what I remember.
Super solid striker, yeah.
So I'm just going to go with him. I know I've picked Bilal in the past to get certain style matchups, and it blew up in my face when he fought Vicente Luque, but they gave Vicente Luque a solid motherfucker from, I don't know if Black Stallions is kind of really floating around, but either way, I like Bilal Muhammad in this. It's probably going to go to a decision. I think it's going to be these guys kind of just exchanging on the feet quite often. Maybe trying to shoot like once or twice, and I don't think it's gonna be an exciting fight. Unfortunately, maybe I know Bilal could bring the heat. I know that if he does, he might get a finish. But Jordan Means a game motherfucker, and I think it's gonna go to the distance.
So I agree with you, except I think Bilal Muhammad does get the stoppage. Probably second or third with just by fucking via swarm TKO. I just think he's gonna put on way too much of a pace.
Was it kind of like that last second pace against that fight against Joban, which was fucking sick in the third round?
Dude,
where he just started like against the cage.
Like he lost that fight to Joban, but that was a super close fight, and Bilal really picks up his pace more and more as the fight goes on. One thing to think about though is he is coming off of Ramadan right now.
So the fasting probably definitely has a little bit of an.
You wonder how much he's been training the last couple of months with the fasting. So it's something to think about.
Very good point.
However, I definitely like Bilal in that. I actually do like him probably by stoppage towards the middle of the fight. Gerald Mearshart takes on Thiago Santos. Barreta or Maheta. Win over Jack Marshman, lost to Eric Spicely, lost to Gegard Mousasi, and a win over named Marquardt. And then Gerald Mearshart has the
fighting out of Duke Rufus Sport, very respectable striking.
Has the wins over Ryan James and Joe
Gigliotti.
I don't know which way you lean on this one. This one's kind of a toss up for me.
I think I'm just gonna go Thiago Santos. I don't know why, dude. I mean, well, this guy's a submission. He's the grappler. The other guy, Thiago, looks like he's the striker. Thiago Santos has more experience in the UFC.
True.
Well, wait, that's ironic though, because the other guy's a Rufus who's striking. Yeah, well, I don't fucking know what I'm talking about. Dude, I have no clue. Shit. You know, I'm gonna go Mearshart via submission, because if you submit a fuckload of people in a row, you're probably gonna just shoot for that the whole time. And I don't know what this other guy's pedigree is though in submission or in grappling. I mean,
I believe it's pretty good.
He's Brazilian, so he's probably at least a brown belt in jiu-jitsu.
I don't know his belt, but I know he's pretty good on the ground. I mean, he lost to a RNC to Eric Spicely, and then his last submission loss before that was 2013 against Montas Ferreira, who's a beast.
Yeah, fuck.
So I'm gonna lead Santos in this one. Although this is the fucking middleweight division, I never know what to do with. It's so weird and fluctuates so much, especially towards the middle of the pack, that like, man, that could easily go either way as far as I'm concerned. Let's see, Chad Laprise is taking on Brian Camozzi.
Chris Camozzi's brother.
Yep. Love me some Brian Camozzi. He was the one who did the AMA on on Reddit today. He's also training out of Factory X, which is Joe Warren and Megan Anderson's gym.
Oh, that reminds you, Justin Gaethje trained out of there too for part of his fight against Michael Johnson.
Yep.
He said he trained with Megan Anderson and Alex Woosley. And for those who don't know, Justin Gaethje trains in Colorado. Also, and one of his main training partners is Rose Namajunas.
Yeah. That's right.
So that's his main partner, basically, that he helps.
I mean, she's tough as shit. There's stories of her sparring.
No, that's what he was saying. That's what he was saying. Like, she's goddamn tough.
Super tough. So which way are you leaning in this one?
I'm gonna go Camozzi. That's because, to be fair, I always hate it when I don't know who fighters are or don't really know the game, because I feel like I'm kind of disrespecting them in a way.
Well, but I usually can't know everybody.
Yeah, so until obviously I watched the fight. I like that he did beat Ross Pearson, even though it was split. Oh, he lost. Never mind.
It was a split though to Ross Pearson, which is like
he did lose to Francisco Trinaldo. No shame in that. He did beat Brian Barberena, and he did beat Olivier Aubin Mercier.
Yeah, some big wins in there.
Yeah, he's good wins. He's Canadian.
Taking on Camozzi, who's coming off that loss to Randy Brown, and then some wins in RFA.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Chad Laprise. He has more experience. I think he's fought more recognizable names, in my opinion. Sure, he's lost to some big guys like Pearson, Trinaldo. Yeah, I'm just going to have to go with him just based on experience when I don't know kind of how to really score the fight.
Yeah, I think that's probably the smart pick.
But yeah, Camozzi does look like he's probably going to their camp.
Yeah, the only thing is like, I think that's probably the smart pick, but Randy Brown is, I feel, way more athletic than Chad Laprise is. Chad Laprise is a much better wrestler, but I think that kind of plays into Camozzi's game a little bit better since Camozzi's a big submission guy. So I'm actually probably going to pick, I'm going to lean Camozzi in this by sub, I think. Yeah. Just by winning some weird scramble and catching Laprise in something. I think the smart pick is probably Laprise. If I was going to put money on something, I'd probably do that. But I'm going to lean Camozzi just to make it fun because I love Chris a lot. I think he's hilarious. So, and Brian's always been real cool on Reddit and everything. So I'll lean that way just for fun. Speaking of fights that are just for fun, Travis Brown versus Alexei Olenek. Oh man, what a weird fucking fight. Travis Brown coming off the losses to Derek Lewis, Fabricio Verdum, and Cain Velasquez. And then the win over... the guy who beat Fedor, Matt Mitrione. And then Alexei Olenek coming off the win over Victor Pesa, the loss to Omielanchik, and the wins over Rochalt and Hamilton, and then Mirko Krokop.
Yeah, I'm going Travis Brown, and the reason why I'm going Travis Brown is
why are you going Travis Brown?
Because he is not with Edmund anymore. Read about that. He is with a brand new camp. I can't remember what camp that is.
I did read about that.
But if you're not with Edmund, I have full, complete faith in your potential now. Because
didn't somebody else join Edmund's team too?
Like someone notable?
I think so. I think the new heavyweight joined his team.
I feel bad for them because they took Travis Brown's spot where he wasted his talent there, in my opinion. I think Travis Brown, I'm not going to say Travis Brown's a potential champion because I don't believe that necessarily, but I do believe he is still a viable talent in the heavyweight division if he utilizes his skills, especially his kicks and his teeps. And I liked his length and reach. And I think he's going to take this fight since with a different coach. That's how much I really don't like Edmund. And I think Travis...
Well, Edmund does nothing for people's games.
Yeah.
It's
so
been pretty
I'm that confident in whatever camp he moved to is going to give him that much better chance to win the fight. And that's why I'm going Travis Brown. No disrespect to Alexei Olenek. He's a very seasoned veteran. He's 40 years old, though. And I don't know how much a 40-year-old can take fucking hits, especially from Travis Brown. Someone who's probably...
That's a very good point.
How tall is Alexei Olenek? 6'1", but he's like a 5 or 6-inch fucking height disadvantage. I mean, granted, your heavyweights could still throw fire at any moment.
Yeah, that's a good
I just got to
point.
go with Travis Brown because his long fucking legs.
You know what? I was actually going to lean Olenek just because I thought he was going to get him down and choke him. No, I'm still going to do that.
Okay.
I have no faith in Travis Brown. I just have no fucking faith at this point.
Even post-Edmund? Think he's tapped out?
What does post-Edmund mean?
He's just not with shitty Edmund. He has a chance someone give him better insight, help him lose game better.
How long has he not been with Edmund?
I don't know. Probably less than a year.
I don't know.
I just feel like any fight prep that's not with him.
It's better than being with Edmund. Yeah. I'll put money on that. I don't have faith in where, as Eugene Robinson would say, he is misty as fuck sounding every time I hear him in an interview.
Travis needs to go back to Jackson Wayne. If you can.
Even then, I don't know if that's the right place for him either, though. Because what? He's going to be sparring with Andre and fucking Overeem? Yeah. That sounds like a bad idea.
He's going to rape his chin.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally, those are three dudes who should not at all be throwing at each other inside of a training facility. Jesus. Yeah, I'm gonna go Olenek. I don't know. I don't have a good reason. He fucking Ezekiel choked someone in the UFC, so I'm gonna go that. Just because I have no faith in Travis Brown at this point, but I don't blame you for picking him. I think it's probably the smart pick. I just can't do it. Anthony Pettis taking on Jim Miller. Easy fight of the night contender. This could fucking be an awesome goddamn scrap. Of course, Anthony Pettis coming off the loss to Holloway, the win over Oliveira, and the losses to Barboza, Alvarez, and RDA.
Yeah, you know what?
Miller coming off the loss to Poirier and the wins over Alves, Lozon, and Gomi.
I'm going with Pettis because Poirier is a decent striker as well. and he his takedown defense, just because I like Anthony Pettis' takedown defense and his BJJ skills against a BJJ practitioner such as Jim Miller, and a wrestler that I think it's going to be similar to that Dustin Poirier versus Jim Miller fight, except I think Anthony Pettis will finish Jim Miller in this fight. I think he's going to let his hands go. He's going to utilize his striking, and Jim Miller's going to be stuck trying to grind him against the fence. It's going to have nothing for him. I know Jim Miller's a tough son of a bitch, and he's a tough out, and he probably won't get finished, but I think Anthony Pettis is going to have too much in his arsenal for him as far as the striking goes, as far as what the variety is, and what he can do if it comes to the ground, too, especially off his back.
That's interesting. I'm actually leaning the exact opposite way. I think Anthony Pettis is... I again have no faith in Anthony Pettis and where he's at right now. However, Jim Miller is coming off of a close fucking decision to Dustin Poirier, and he just overcame his Lyme disease, which was fucking with him for year or so.
Good point.
Also, Jim Miller has a really good pressure wrestling game, which is good at putting people against the fence, which is exactly what Anthony Pettis has trouble with. And Jim Miller is good at constantly being active. Kind of what Eddie
Alvarez did to Anthony Pettis.
Yep. And Jim Miller is good at constantly being active and backing motherfuckers up. And just, like, throwing out enough just super, as he describes it, meat and potatoes, fucking 1-2 low kick type of fucking pressure, where I feel like he's just going to walk Pettis down, put him against the fence, and give him fucking trouble the entire fight. And we're once again going to see Pettis struggle with the clinch game. I'd like to be wrong. I'd like for this to be a competitive fucking back and forth scrap where, like, Jim Miller's diving for takedowns, Anthony Pettis is grabbing necks and shit. But I tend to think Miller will end up just kind of winning the pressure game and drowning Anthony Pettis slowly over time. Probably by decision, probably a really ugly decision. I think it's going to be a fun fight, though. Although I should disclaim that I like those kinds of ugly fights where, like, it's just fucking one dude winning by being just grindy and scrappy as a motherfucker. Wild fucking card so far, though. Like, after you get... There's some lulls here and there, which are definitely some beer grabber fights, but there's some good fucking fights on this card. Speaking of which, Verdum Vicavallo is taking on Alistair the Ream Overeem.
The third fight.
That's right. Third from the top. And their third fight as well. Third from the top, right?
That's not yet.
Yeah, third from the top. Let's see.
Trilogy fight.
Yep. That as well. Where in the second one, you guys can go watch the MMA Depressed Us episode where you can watch them groan over Verdum pulling guard about 30 times. Let's see. Verdum, of course, coming off the win over Mark Hunt via knee. Nope. Alistair coming off the win over Mark Hunt via knee. Lost to Stipe via punches and the win over Andrei Arlovsky. Oh, let's see. Fabricio, of course, coming off the win over Travis Brown, where he fucking front kicked him in the face to start the fight, and
kicked Edmund.
And then fucking teeped Edmund. And then the loss to Stipe, where he sprinted into a punch, and the win over Cain Velasquez, which feels like forever ago.
Yeah, these guys have both beaten killers.
Yeah, I mean, well, they've both been around for fucking ever too. Like both fought. I think they both fought in Pride. They fucking both fought in Strikeforce. They've been around forever.
All right, so Fabricio, I know he's probably...
As a matter of fact, I think their first fight was in Pride, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. Pride FC, Total Elimination Absolute, where Verdum got Kimura. No, sorry, Verdum Kimura fucking Ream. What am I saying?
I think this second fight's gonna be this fight's gonna be similar to the second one. I think Verdum's going to try to pull guard later, but if he does, I think in the beginning he's going to try to throw wild punches and just kind of go out and just try to chase towards Overeem, which is going to be a huge mistake. I think Overeem's going to utilize his clinch game and his knees and kind of do similarly what he just did to Mark Hunt, and I see Overeem winning by fucking knockout. Probably in the last round, round three, I'm calling.
Interesting.
I like his strike. I know his chin is not as good as Verdum. I know Overeem's chin is very suspect, but I don't respect Verdum's power in his hands as I do to someone like a Stipe or Mark Hunt. And the fact that Ream was wobbled by Hunt and still survived because he clinched up, because of great recovery, is why I really expect him to kind of utilize those knees in that Muay Thai. I think that Muay Thai is going to give him that victory. Especially the kickboxing, too. I think you see a lot of fucking leg kicks and body shots from Overeem on the outside.
Yeah,
especially when he's getting pressured against the fence by Verdum.
Yeah, that's what Jack Slack kept calling for too, is working the knees on the inside, really working the clinch against Verdum. I'm not convinced that's the best idea because I think that's how Alistair gets taken down.
Yeah.
And that's bad. If Alistair ends up on his back, this fight's probably over.
Yeah.
Because I just don't see him mentally recovering from that. Also, if Fabricio just starts wildman running at Reem, I'm not sure that's bad for Verdum either. Just because fucking Alistair Overeem, when he starts getting clipped, starts having real fucking mental issues in fights. Like, you can just see him physically start struggling with, like, whether or not he even wants to be there anymore. Yeah, I don't know. I like both these guys, despite both of them being giant dicks to everyone by all accounts. As far as I can tell, no one has. I mean, people have good stories about them, but it also is caveated by but also they were being very dickish to everyone I knew, and also I was a girl who they were nice to, so take that into account. I'm gonna lean. God damn it! I've been thinking about this for a week and I'm still not sure. I'm gonna go Verdum. God damn it. It's not the smart pick. He should lose to Alistair Overeem if Alistair Overeem at all could consistently put out any kind of game plan over time. I have no faith. I just have no faith. I just think Verdum probably eventually drowns Alistair Overeem with a takedown and just pressure, and Alistair Overeem ends up on his back looking like he doesn't want to be there anymore and probably gets mounted and either taps out, either rolls to his back and gets tapped out or gets TKO'd. Could be wrong. I like Alistair Overeem. Alistair Overeem has good chances if he's able to stick to his game plan, stay on the outside, and kind of exhaust Fabricio by just making him constantly chase him, kind of like Stipe style, which is, you gotta imagine that's what the Jackson camp is praying for. But I just, again, don't have a lot of faith in Alistair Overeem at this point.
Yep.
Curtis Blades, Daniel
Curtis Blades, the creative fighter on UFC 2.
Coming off the win over Adam Milstead and Cody East. Lost to Francis Ngannou, which is a tough fucking first fight in the UFC. Holy shit. Facing Daniel Omielanczak, who is out of Poland. Losses back-to-back to Timothy Johnson and Stefan Struve. And the win over Alexei Olnik. Omielanczak is tough as shit. But if you're losing to Stefan Struve and Timothy Johnson, Curtis Blades makes me nervous for you.
I like Curtis Blades because when I saw him last, he was throwing fucking fire. And this dude's a good pressure fighter.
Yeah, he mollywopped Cody East. And
you're a pressure fighter in heavyweight. Either you're gonna be knocking motherfuckers out early, or you're gonna get knocked the fuck out early.
And he's out of elevation too, which any heavyweight training out of fucking high altitude, it's hard to pick against. So you're going Blades on that? Yeah, I'm going Blades too, probably TKO. All right, co-main event of the evening, and a hell of a goddamn fight
of the card.
Yeah, hands down, one of the best fights of the weekend, probably. This and Gaethje Johnson.
Good old Bobby Knuckles. Well, even though he hates that nickname,
he doesn't hate it. He hates it.
Well, according to Jack Slack, and according to co-main, apparently they said he didn't like it. Well, in an interview, I saw a submission. He said, he's like, what do you think of the nickname Bobby Knuckles? He said, I don't like it, but it doesn't bother me because I have so many nicknames. That's what he said. Yeah. So, he didn't necessarily like it. It's just, he doesn't, hate it.
I think he was just saying, I'm not going to call myself Bobby Knuckles. Yeah. Kind of thing.
I don't blame him. Because I remember someone said, you're going to call him Bob Whitaker.
For real. Bob Whitaker.
Then he'd be 40 years old.
Yeah.
But yes, we got Robert the Weeper Whitaker the winner of TUF Smashes, and he recently moved up to middleweight, I think about 2 years ago, and he's looked never better. Looks fantastic up at middleweight because that weight cut was massive for him.
Yeah.
And very draining on his cardio.
Yeah, which you can tell, his output has grown a lot since he moved up in weight class. Although it's become more selective, it's still a higher output. Like, it's more selective in that he's more worried about the counter from wrestlers, so he's not, like, extending and throwing, like, 8-piece combos, but he's willing to throw single shots more often than I feel like he did at 170.
Yeah, I think it was Jack Slack that said Rob Whittaker should be looking for that single leg the whole time, or to defend Yoel's freestyle. What does he go? Does he go with the double? I know he tries to go for the back all the time.
Not a lot of guys go for the double anymore. Like
either way, the people I've been listening to, and this is my initial instinct, straight up, I'm picking Robert Whittaker by TKO. I'm calling round 4. Yoel Romero, in my opinion, is shown to gas after round 3. I haven't seen him in a round 5 fight in a long time. And I don't trust his cardio against someone who's proven like Robert Whittaker and who's the younger fighter. I think he has more KO power. I know Romero has fucking more explosive power. Don't get me wrong, like on a dime, like he could just explode like he did against Chris Weidman and stuff like that. But I really just like Robert Whittaker's all-around skills, and the fact that he has like a 93% takedown defense or something like that is fucking insane, even against a wrestler such as Yoel.
Oh yeah,
So
super
I totally anticipate him getting those sprawls in, being able to shut down Yoel's wrestling, and Yoel's just going to be like, not scared obviously, but he's just going to just back up in the corner and be like, fuck. And I'm going to go with the more efficient technical striker, Robert Whittaker, when it comes down to that, striking versus striking. I got to go with Robert Whittaker in this fight, and I think he's going to finish Yoel Romero and put out a fucking huge statement.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think the volume from Robert should be a huge fucking issue for Yoel. And yeah, I agree with him like kind of like just throwing heat at Yoel until Yoel just reacts incorrectly and gets clipped. Yeah. However, I do think it's going to be earlier, probably first or second round. Just because I think Yoel starts out a little bit slow trying to read people. I think Robert Whittaker is going to intentionally come out
feet.
real
Someone
strong.
did mention that too. He is kind of slow in his feet with stiff movement, right?
Not even that. He just like he spends a lot of time kind of like Anderson Silva style reading people, where like he'll sit there like Chris Weidman style, where he just sat there and read Chris Weidman for a round and a half until he kneed him in the fucking face and killed him.
Yeah.
And I think Robert Whittaker is going to intentionally come out on fire, trying to, not like Derek Brunson against Robert Whittaker on fire, but like he's going to come out like Jacare style, where like you want to give him no fucking quarters and just constantly press and give him no time to think, just constantly throwing like not even heavy punches, just constantly throwing volume, like a lot of body work and maintaining distance. I don't know if we'll see as many kicks from him in this fight, because I think he'll be a little bit more worried about the takedown, but I think it'll be a great fight, and I'm really, really excited to see this matchup. Fucking Robert Whittaker is one of my favorites. Fucking Yoel is a goddamn monster, and as Robin Black describes it, ATT guys come all over them, or jizz all over themselves when they talk about how athletic Yoel Romero is, so that's going to be one fucking hell of a fight. Speaking of a hell of a fight, the Lioness, Amanda Nunes, 135 champion, is taking on Valentina the Bullet Shevchenko.
Also known for her professional shooting pedigree. That's why she's called Bullet.
Yep, and also her fucking gun tattoos and aggressive fucking trainer who got shot recently.
Wow, how were you there?
I don't know. There was
in Russia, probably.
Yeah, she was there in the video. There's a video. You can watch her trainer get shot.
Did she shoot the person that?
No,
shot?
there's like some robbers that came up, and so he fucking pulled out a gun and got shot or some shit.
Oh man!
I heard this story on one of the podcasts from this week. I don't remember who. I probably should have written that down. Anyway, Valentina Shevchenko coming off the loss to Amanda Nunes by 3-round decision back at UFC 196. McGregor vs. Diaz won. And then as the wins over Holly Holm and Juliana Pena, Amanda Nunes has that, ever since that win over Valentina Shevchenko, has gotten back-to-back wins over Miesha Tate and Ronda Rousey. Super fucking impressive dominating performances. Valentina has not looked much different. Super impressive dominating performances.
Yeah.
The Holly Holm one, a little bit less so, but Juliana Pena I was extremely impressed by.
Especially in the grappling exchanges.
Yeah, even faced some adversity early, but still got through it and then fucked Juliana up.
And I think this fight's going to come down to cardio and who can really go 5 rounds compared to the other. And in this case, I'm going with Shevchenko in this fight because in their first fight initially, Nunes clearly won the first 2 rounds. Shevchenko started going, just like bringing it on later in that 3rd round and getting the better of the exchanges, and she looked way more energized and sapped that Nunes did. And I'm gonna go with Shevchenko's cardio and her ability to adjust to later in deep water. And I'm going to go, honestly, Shevchenko's going to finish Nunes in probably round 4 or 5, the championship rounds. I really do think she's going to. Yeah, I know I sound kind of nuts, but I really like Shevchenko's cardio.
I've heard a lot of people picking that.
And I'm going to stick with that. I really like Shevchenko in this fight 100%. The only way I see Nunes winning this is if she has too much volume early on and gets a TKO finish against Shevchenko, like against the cage.
Yeah, see, that's kind of how I'm seeing this, is I think first or second round, Amanda Nunes puts too much pressure on, and Valentina does too much flinchy striking at her, and Amanda just fucking bum rushes forward and bombs on her until she gets TKO, probably. I like Valentina. I think if this fight goes to the ground, I think it'll be the most interesting. However, I don't see any... Like, I don't see enough of a commitment from Valentina Shevchenko early in the fight for me to have any reason to think that Amanda Nunes isn't just going to bull rush her early and fuck her up like she's been doing with everybody. I could be wrong, like I've said many times tonight, and I often am. If you look at my picks on the MMA community, Monsters Pick'em thread, which I fucking love and always shout out, but I'm definitely going to lean Amanda Nunes in this one by early TKO. Possible sub, but probably early TKO. I think that either way this fight's going to be fun as shit. And it'll say a lot about where this division is at. If fucking Amanda Nunes bodies Shevchenko, that's a huge statement on that division.
She has no one to fight until a long time.
Pennington is about the only one.
That's a good point.
And Pennington, to be fair, beat fucking Holly Holm, all you naysayers.
She did.
I've been saying this for fucking 2 or 3 years now, but she beat goddamn Holly Holm forever ago.
I heard Jermaine Durandamy's available. Just kidding.
Yeah, seriously. Not yet. Eventually she is.
Wait, she'll retire.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be a fun main event. I think this will be a fun card. I think we're gonna. Did we say we're gonna watch it at Balboa Tap House?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Fuck yeah. Why not?
Yeah. So hopefully we see Danny Boy Downs there again from the Trading Shots column that he does with Ben Folks.
Yep, Ben Folks.
Because he was there for when we were there. Actually, as we talked about earlier
UFC
tonight.
191, yeah.
Yep, for the one with Woodley and Waller.
Pulver was losing his
Lawler.
mind when Woodley connected with that.
That's right. I was cheering for Woodley while wearing a Lawler shirt like a goddamn hypocrite. Yeah. I love them both, to be fair. They're fucking both great. But
Pulver just loves violence and chaos.
Well, that and Lawler doesn't have a podcast, so guess what I was rooting for?
Yeah.
Fucking chosen one. Yeah, this will be a fun weekend of fights. Also, I think we have Invicta next weekend, which is it bad I'm more excited for Invicta next weekend than any of these fights?
I think better.
Even though that Invicta card is nowhere near as good. Just because they stripped like 3/4 of the people out of it for the UFC. It'll be interesting, but I think we have Eddie Bravo 2 weeks from now with the all women's tournament.
That's right.
That we'll definitely have to talk about that a bit. But this will be a fun weekend of fights. Everyone wish Chris a happy birthday.
Birthday's tomorrow. It's gonna be fun watching the TUF Redemption finale.
Yeah, we'll probably meet up and do that at some point. Which will be dope. And yeah, like we said, if anybody's out here in San Diego, come come say what's up to us at Balboa Tap House during 2:13, and I'll buy you a beer. I'll even get you a seat because I'm homies with one of the bartenders. So, shouts out to Steve. That dude's the man.
Steve's the man.
Steve's the man. And they also have amazing fucking beers on tap. I believe they have.
If you have an Uber driver, please get the aged, the barrel aged beers.
No, yeah, I believe they have a 2015 and a 2017 Kentucky. No, wait. Bourbon County, Kentucky.
There's like a stout and there's like
Bourbon,
a porter.
Yeah, it's the BCBS. Bourbon County, no.
Barrel stout? I don't know.
Yeah, Kentucky Bourbon County Stout. Something like that.
Either way, it's about 15% of deliciousness.
Yeah, giant beers. They also have an amazing sour right now from... they have a couple good sours, actually. And a couple good fruit beers, ton of good IPAs. I think I had about 8 of them the other day, and I definitely enjoyed myself. So hit us up. You guys can find us, if you don't know already, thesoundofviolence.com. You will soon be able to find us on iTunes, because god damn it, I finally applied to iTunes. So
hell yeah.
Our RSS feed is actually up currently. However, we're not caught up, full disclosure, yet. Because I don't want to go through and upload a bunch of shit and then have to, fix iTunes links if I fucked that up. So, if you go to The Sound of Violence... Nope. Yeah, thesoundofviolence.libsyn.com/RSS. That's our RSS feed. We will shortly be on iTunes, Google Play, everywhere. And I'll eventually get us all up on that. You can, of course, always find all of our episodes on YouTube as well. The Sound of Violence. Hit us up on Twitter, TSOVpod. Email the show, chris@thesoundofviolence.com. Also, if you go to our website, thesoundofviolence.com, and click on the articles button at the top, you will be brought to a page where you can see all of our pictures from the amateur fights that I checked out at the Del Mar Fair. With pictures like Sam Alvey and some of his guys. Actually, I believe our podcast artwork on YouTube last week was a picture of Sam Alvey.
It was. That was a great photo.
Yeah, it was. Literally, you could see Sam Alvey in one corner, cornering the guy who was fighting from fucking 4 feet away from where I was sitting. So that was a real cool stuff. And so check that out. We have a bunch of amazing pictures. Larry Landless was reffing, so you get to see how large and how large Larry Landless is. Now he has Eminem hair now. And it's just it's a cool fucking thing. So go check that out. Hit us up. Let us know what podcast we should be listening to, what we're missing out on. And until next time, everybody, go do something decadent. Yeah.